you know the word? Oh, thank you, Sophie.
Sorry.
That's a blooper for the end of
I'm
the episode.
so professional. Carry on.
Okay, here we go. See, I feel you're going to say something again, though. So
now I
Sophie,
want
could
to.
you just be quiet?
Just cough.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
No pressure.
Jesus.
You got this.
I've got this. Come on. Okay. You know the world, the universe, everything is really strange when you think about it. Sometimes strange and tragic things happen. Sometimes for strange reasons, and sometimes stories and conspiracies are created. Some ridiculous, some maybe not so. Buckle in, grab your tinfoil hat, as we're going to delve into the murky and controversial world of conspiracies. But first, here are 10 conspiracies that are true. During Prohibition, the government poisoned alcohol to keep people from drinking.
Does this story seem possible?
A stroke rendered President Woodrow Wilson incapable of governing, and his wife I knew I'd get that word. Surreptitiously stepped in.
I don't believe you.
The CIA was testing LSD and other hallucinogenic... Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, wow, you're on a
They're
roll.
long words, mate. There's a lot of syllables.
Hallucinogenic drugs on Americans in a top-secret experiment on behavior modification.
It's time to ask yourself what you believe.
The Dalai Lama is a CIA agent.
You can't handle the truth.
Now, I'm not saying that these are true, but I've read them off the internet, so obviously they are.
They're from Twitter, are they?
Yes. The FBI was spying on former Beatle John Lennon.
Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense!
For decades, tobacco companies buried evidence that smoking is deadly.
What a load of crappy crap.
There you go. The Gulf of Tonkin incident on August the 2nd, 1964 was faked to provoke American support for the Vietnam War.
A bullshit?
The Canada government was so paranoid about homosexuality that it developed a gaydar machine.
You're unbelievable.
E.T. is buried in the desert of New Mexico. The Atari video game E.T. the Extraterrestrial failed so miserably that the company buried unsold cartridges in a desert landfill.
Unbelievable, Jeff.
And finally, with the advances in technology, the government is using its vast resources to track citizens.
I don't believe it!
Indeed, I don't believe it either. Well, look. All of the facts that I've got tonight are all from the internet, and who knows the internet? The facts in inverted commas. Inverted commas. So please take everything we say tonight with a massive pinch of salt. And joining us in trademark, the nicest man on the internet, Giles Paley Phillips, and the globe-trotting 2024 version of Alan Wicker, Sophie Green. Yay!
Wow, what an intro.
What an intro, indeed. Right.
Yeah, thank you. That's very kind.
Yeah, sorry that I completely ballsed up the start, but
No,
it's all fun.
I thought you did well because there were some hard words in there.
There was Dalai Lama.
I can't say it
There
either.
you go. Well done. I feel better now. So, hello, guys. We've realised that conspiracies is a very dangerous, murky subject to tackle. Now, I know that in our messages, Giles, we were saying, should we maybe make them more light-hearted conspiracies or not? I did think that maybe some of the ones that are a little bit more controversial are ones that we should talk about, because I'd like to know what your views of them are. But everybody listening, take a chill pill. You know, we're not trying to explain the meaning of life. We're just trying to have some fun on a podcast. That's all we're trying to do.
Well,
So,
I guess it's what people... one person's conspiracy theory is another person's truth, right? So, you know,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's very profound.
I know.
And Sophie, what about you?
Yeah, I had a feeling you'd had a conversation about it because Giles, sort of said to me, we're going to do sort of like jokey ones. And I was like, no, I'm going all in.
All the ones you believe.
Yeah, my favourite one is the Holocaust never happened. No, just kidding.
Well, the thing is, the ones I've got in my top 10, I don't necessarily believe in all of the ones I've got in my top 10.
Oh,
But
I didn't know we would believe in any of them.
Well, no, but I mean, no. There's some that there are slivers. There are slivers of truth in certain conspiracy theories.
Remember,
I think.
Sophie, one person's conspiracy theory is
sorry,
another
but I didn't
person's
realise.
truth.
Exactly, but I'm very easily led. So I don't know about you
Yeah.
guys.
We'll talk you round.
Thank you. But I'll watch a documentary about Summer and straight away I'll go, that's obviously the truth about it. Because a lot of people that are very good documentary makers will make the points really well and you think, well, that's got to be the truth. But then you'll watch another documentary about the same thing and you think, oh, yeah, no.
They're right as well.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you know, Pav, but everything on YouTube is true. So.
Well, I'm kind of hoping it is.
Well, you know what, Sophie? One person's YouTube is
another person's truth.
Yeah.
Okay, before we actually do start, we've now got a new feature, which we started with Lisa a couple of episodes ago. So we're going to do this.
Lisa's challenge.
Thank you, Lisa. So what we're going to do is, because we normally get duplicates, but what I want to do is we're going to each think how many duplicates we're all going to get out of our top 10. Okay. But they've got now we've over the last few weeks I've only had me and a guest. Now we've got 3 of us. So Giles, how many conspiracy theories do you think we're all going to have in our top 10?
What, the same, you mean?
The same, yeah. We're gonna,
because I guess we've all got 10.
Yes, we've all got 10, but we may
I
have...
went for 4. I think at least half, I reckon. Maybe, 5. I'll go 5.
You're going to go 5? Okay. And Sophie, what do you think?
So these are duplicates that all 3 of us have on our list.
All 3 of us have to have. Yeah, all 3 of us have to have.
I'm just going to say 3.
Ooh.
That's because yours are going to be all weird.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm looking at mine. I'm like, they're not going to have most of these. No
one's heard of these ones. You just made up them.
I thought this was a platform to make up my own conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
so
I don't mind that.
That's what I went with. And also, I'm thinking about my Lord of the Rings list as well.
Yeah.
And that was quite niche. So.
I'm going to split the difference and I'll go 4 then. I'm going to go 4.
Okay.
So Giles said 5, Sophie said 3, and I've said 4. So in regards to, I've just said that I'm quite easily led when it comes to conspiracy theories. What about you guys? Giles, do you just poo-poo them straight away?
I'm pretty skeptical. And interestingly enough, I was saying to the kids, we were just eating dinner before we came on, and the wonderful world of the internet, they know most of the ones I was saying to them, they knew most of them.
Really?
And I was like, you know, they're teenagers, but so I was thinking, like, actually, conspiracy theories, I guess they consume a lot of YouTube, but they're obviously very aware of a lot of conspiracy theories. Conspiracy has become mainstream, and we've seen that in politics and stuff with the likes of Trump and Alex Jones and stuff like that, and you know, dare say other people that remain nameless. But so yeah, they've become very mainstream. So I think a lot of people know more about conspiracy theories than they used to, perhaps.
Okay. What about you, Sophie?
I would say that I don't really care enough about most things to sort of attach any kind of like meaning to stuff.
Or
But I'm
emotion.
just in general, you mean?
Yeah, kind of like, you know, I'm kind of non-committal to most things in life, but I would say that I am very open-minded. You know, I believe in science and like normal things, but at the same time I haven't really attached like an identity to it. So if someone said to me tomorrow, actually we've proven that the earth is flat, then I probably wouldn't care really.
Right.
But I find them
So you just don't care about anything.
No.
Well, I just what really fascinates me about conspiracy theories is why people care so much. Really, it's like the psychology behind it all, because people get so like passionate about it, and they really like put their all into these weird and wacky beliefs. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that the thing about conspiracy theories I love is more the wildness of them, like unpacking why people actually believe that, and being open to it being true as well.
Sorry, Pav, I was going to say, I think actually you're on something there. I think conspiracy theorists are sometimes more fascinating than conspiracy theories. Like like you say, the meaning that people take from it, and like the righteousness sometimes as well. Which is
I was going to say, the social media age that we're in now, where everybody now in inverted commas, has a voice, it's that thing that anybody can say anything they want. And the same as I said, I've taken these facts, or these conspiracy facts, if you like, from the internet. I don't know if they're true or not. I'm just taking them from face value from what I've seen on a device in front of me. So it's weird how anybody, like you said, Sophie, you could say what you want and it could be all of a sudden a conspiracy theory. And somebody's going to latch on it and then go, I believe that. And then by that time, you've got a movement then.
Yeah, it's the like origins of conspiracy theories that really fascinate me as well, because oftentimes you'll find that they either have a completely ridiculous origin or a really anti-Semitic origin. And so you're kind of, both sides are kind of dangerous, like you're either going off of some bizarre thing that someone's just made up on Reddit, or you're going off of something with some quite sort of dangerous ideologies at the origin of it. And I don't think people really do any research on where it's come from before they decide to attach themselves to it.
Yeah. And as well, there seems to be making money out of a conspiracy theory seems to be something that a lot of people can do. I've known from JFK assassination, the amount of books on the JFK assassination where people are just trying to make their little sliver of money out of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
totally.
Right. I'm fascinated. I can't wait to delve in. So, Giles, what's your number 10?
You said about not doing comedy ones.
Okay. You could do comedy ones.
I disregarded that.
I got no problems with that.
So, number 10, I've got Avril Lavigne is dead and is being impersonated.
Right. I did see that one.
This has come from, someone's come up with this, that she died in 2003. I think it's something to do, like some Brazilian fan page this started on or something like that. I've got some notes here, so that's why I'm looking over here. Yeah. It's something to do with that she was struggling with the price of fame after the release of one of her big albums, and then she ended up taking her own life, and they've replaced her basically. And
but
so she's
why?
Well, quite.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of to be honest, I look at a lot of these that I've written out and I think, why?
Yeah.
Yeah, good question. I've heard about this, and because apparently there's
of course
a woman obviously, because there's a woman that looks very similar to her. But the thing that makes me laugh about this conspiracy theory is that when this supposedly happened was like, I want to say like 2003 or something. It was like right at the height of her fame. Like I think all her songs came out. Was it like Complicated and all of that stuff came out one year, and then like by the next year she was supposedly already dead and had been cloned.
That was perfect timing. And then she was already dead.
I didn't
mean to press that. I'm sorry.
She didn't press the wah 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 bit.
She was dead. But yeah, it's almost like a year later.
Yeah.
There you go.
So the lady's called Melissa Vandella, who's supposed to be the person that's impersonating her, or is Avril Lavigne now.
She's her, yeah.
See,
but she hasn't been doing much. Like she's not like been releasing albums and stuff. Then this woman,
she's probably done less now since she died. Obviously not died.
That's crazy. I must admit, the reason I pressed that. And then Sophie went and mentioned Complicated. I was going to go, why did she have to make it so complicated? And then I was going to go like that.
Nice.
But Sophie said Complicated, so it kind of ruined the whole thing. But don't worry, Sophie. Gag. That's fine.
Have you got a Skater Boy reference or something?
No. They're the only two songs I know of hers anyway. I don't know any of the songs.
Well, this is what I mean. Like, it's not like she had this thriving
career
Elvis, for years afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
it's
what
bizarre.
I mean.
But it's like the general public find it harder to believe that she just wanted to live a quiet life. So they were like, "Oh, she's been cloned. She's got a clone instead. She's dead."
Yeah,
they just can't have the normal option. They have to have some bizarre.
Let's hope Taylor Swift is happy. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, that's why I kind of picked it, because I thought it's quite a random person. Like if you were gonna say like some pop stars died, Avril Lavigne wouldn't have been the person I would have gone to. Like. You might say like Miley Cyrus or something, like someone, or Taylor Swift, like you said. But the fact it's like Avril Lavigne, who's, no offense to Avril Lavigne, but
a couple
average
of hits
kind of pop
and,
maybe that makes it more realistic. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just a very random.
Anyway, that's my number 10.
That's a great one to start with, though. Okay, then Sophie, you're number 10.
Okay, so my number 10 was birds aren't real. They're actually they're surveillance drones that the government's put out. And I love this one because it's kind of a jokey one. Like it's not none of these are real, but it's not created, in a serious way. I think it's sort of like a satirical conspiracy theory started by some guy in America that kind of just wanted to show the kind of misinformation and how easily it's spread. I'm guessing, and I think most people that spout that stuff about this know that it's not real as well, which is why it's quite nice.
I know a bit of background of this because I was listening to a podcast that was from back in 2006, and I can't remember exactly where in America it was, but it was kind of like a comedy group decided they were going to have a forum, if you like, in where they lived to say that they think that birds are decoys, and the reason they sit on electric poles is because that's how they recharge and stuff like that. And that the local news network picked it up, but didn't do it like it was a joke. They picked it up like it was an actual story.
Oh God!
So of course, then it started growing and growing and growing. I think that's where it came from. So
amazing.
Yeah, just from a joke, but that's a great one. That is. I mean,
it's
birds
hilarious.
aren't real.
Well,
hilarious.
Again, that was one I hadn't really heard of, but talking to the kids earlier, that was one of Eli's favourites. It was like, oh, well, you should do the one about birds not being real. Like,
really? But that's where legends are made.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Anyway,
that's a good one as well. Okay, talking of legends, Bigfoot is my number 10, or Sasquatch, or whatever you want.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I think about this crazy world that we live in is that there are things in it that people can't explain. But one thing I don't understand when it comes to something like Bigfoot, why there are never any great photos. They're always grainy. They're all even video. Yeah, it's just terrible photographs. The one reason I wanted to ask about Bigfoot is because have either of you seen the trailer for Sasquatch Sunset?
No, I thought you were about to say, have you seen Bigfoot?
Yeah, me too. You said it so
chance.
seriously, yeah. Because I have.
Have you seen Bigfoot?
Have you seen Bigfoot? Come on, you must have done. You must have done.
I mean,
you're traveling. I was going to know you're traveling, Sophie. Yeah. I can't wait for when I look on
lives
Twitter.
in Hawaii.
I look on Twitter and Sophie's doing her next piece of art and it's a picture of Bigfoot.
Yeah, but it's really grainy. Like it's a really shit painting.
It is. Yeah. But there's a movie coming out called Sasquatch Sunset. And if you get a chance, I'll put it on the video playlist for our Patreon subscribers. It is, pardon my French, fucking crazy. Right?
Oh,
now,
really?
it stars Jesse Eisenberg from the social media and stuff like that. But there's no dialogue in it. It's just about a Sasquatch family. And it is absolutely crazy. And you don't realise it's Jesse Eisenberg until it comes up and it says starring Jesse Eisenberg and it's just this Sasquatch person in a family. It's mental. It's crazy.
How's that got made?
That's from your producer's hat, isn't it? Your producer's hat.
I'm imagining like
it makes me very
Sasquatch.
depressed.
I'm imagining like a Sasquatch version of the Flintstones or something.
It kind of is, but there's a Red Band trailer on the thing, and like the first thing you see are two Sasquatches having sex, and it is just like you go, did I really just see that? Did I really just see that?
That's a strong opening, though, isn't it?
It's a strong opening. Yeah. Indeed it is. So what are we saying? Bigfoot, yay or nay? Is there some deep part of a Canadian forest where there's a missing link?
There could be some feral person sort of wandering around, but I don't think there's some sort of weird, I don't know. No.
It's the evidence, isn't it? There should be, with the kind of cameras that everybody has got these days, you should be able to get some good evidence that there is some kind of Bigfoot, Sasquatch missing link.
Loch Ness, the abominable snowman.
Yeah.
You know,
those mystical creatures.
Yeah, I'm going to say no as well. Although I think there are some weird things out there, like maybe, like you say, like feral people and stuff like that. I've heard so many stories about, because loads of people go missing in national parks in America. It's like a whole thing. And under really weird circumstances as well. And probably a lot of them, they get lost or kidnapped or something. But there's some weird stuff going on. But I'm going to say no.
You can't get more feral than Will Ferrell, of course. From Elf. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
If you said to me who would you consider in the Hollywood echelons as being like Bigfoot, I would have said Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean he's
yeah,
tall
yeah.
and he's
tall.
feral.
Yeah, he's tall, and he's called
Yeah.
Will Ferrell.
Okay,
Will Ferrell,
Giles, your number 9, please.
Princess Diana's death wasn't
Right.
an accident.
That's my number 6.
Oh, okay.
That's my number 6.
Yeah. So this conspiracy started quite quickly.
Yes, it
after
did.
as well. It did. It's like almost like the same day.
Yeah.
This can't be an accident. Like, you know, it's just too. How could possibly like be a car accident where someone dies? So yeah, and then it was obviously kind of exacerbated by because she was seeing. So for context, she was seeing Dodie fired at the time. They were in the car together in Paris. Was it Paris or something?
Yes, it was Paris.
And they died together in the vehicle. And his father was Mohammed Al Fayed, who at the time was the owner of Fulham Football Club, and he owned Harrods and all sorts of different things. And he was obviously very vehement about like there was something going on. He didn't think it was a straight car crash, and kind of accused it of the being like the British monarchy being involved in somehow. Like they didn't want an Egyptian Muslim son-in-law kind of thing, you know, want to be part of the. So that kind of started, and then there was something about the driver also, Paul Henry, I think his name was, being drunk, and also that there's a thing about him being on the payroll of the National Intelligence Service, because obviously they didn't want Diana to be around either for some reason. I don't know what the National Intelligence Service does, but obviously they didn't like Diana for some reason. But anyway, so yeah, so there's sort of several kind of different conspiracies within the one conspiracy, if you know what I mean. About there's different kind of theories about why it happened.
Do you think that that kind of conspiracy is the fact that people can't accept that she just died in a terrible car crash when she was being chased through the streets of Paris?
Almost.
Yeah, by paparazzi.
No, obviously, it wasn't a normal death, but you know what I mean? It's like kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, has there ever been a celebrity death, a big celebrity death, where people haven't conspired that it actually was fake and they're still alive? You know, Elvis, Tupac, all these Johnny Cash. Like, I'm sure there is a conspiracy theory for every celebrity that has died where people just don't want to believe that they're dead.
Yeah.
Well, it's their heroes, isn't it? And like Diana was so loved by the British public that, I think that's it. And I think there's also that kind of, you know, like the press being involved, and like the whole kind of thing around like the paparazzi and how it occurred, I suppose. There's a lot of kind of
And you had someone like Mohammed Fayed who he shouted his mouth off a lot anyway. He never got an English passport. I think a British passport, which was one thing that pissed him off. So he had a lot of things that he wanted to.
Get off his chest,
I mean, it was just I can remember the day that we woke up and found out, because we were supposed to go and see. We were going to go and see Wet, Wet, Wet that night in Birmingham.
Oh, what a washout!
I know.
Sorry.
Although we did actually still go. Kids those days, there wasn't internet. You had to phone up and find out if the gig was still on. But it was such a weird atmosphere at a gig. Nobody really wanted to party.
Did they do any dedications?
No, I think
Caught
they came
up
out
on the wishing well. This one's for you.
I think they came out at the start and said, "Look, we're just gonna do it. You know, just carry on as if normal.
Yeah,
we know it's a bad, hard time and stuff." And it was just a real.
We'll get you through this, guys.
Yeah, we'll get you through this. Come on, love is all around. Come on, come on.
Marty Pellow's flicking his ponytail in the back.
He was loving it. But yeah, very, very strange. Very strange. Okay then, Sophie, you're number 9.
Okay, my number 9 is We Live in a Simulation.
I've got that as number 8, Living in the Matrix. I've got that as my number 8, yeah.
Nice. It's great. It's kind of
reassuring,
fascinating. Yeah, kind of. I think that's why probably people believe it, is because it's like they believe that we don't really have any control over anything and everything's sort of predestined. And I think it's one step down from just religion, you know, in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's quite cool. I don't really believe it, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of want to believe it.
I was going to say, sorry, Soph, but like, was the idea of the Matrix, was that before the Matrix film? Like, it feels like it's become more, maybe people were into it, the idea of it more since the film
I think it was
out.
Since the film came out.
Yeah. And also, do you remember that game, The Sims?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that sort of thing came out as well around the same time. It was like Sim City,
and wasn't there a thing called
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Second Life? Do you remember Second Life?
No, I don't
Vaguely,
remember that.
vaguely. remember
Vaguely,
that.
where you had your own life but online, and I think the American Office did a bit about it, and you just lived your perfect life online while you were a loser in real life, but you were like successful and
bit Ready Player One type sort of stuff.
Yeah. So the big question then, I can never remember which way round red pill, blue pill was, but if you had the choice, would you stay in the simulation or would you become free? Sophie, what would you do?
I think I'd probably stay in the simulation. It depends it depends what out of the simulation looks like, because I was listening to a podcast recently and they were sort of saying, they were talking about David Icke and how he's like living in the real world and we're all like blind to it, and they were joking kind of like, well, if the real world is where David Icke is, I think it's probably better to be in this world, to be honest with you, because he's kind of living in a very shit world right now.
Yeah. If we took it like it was just like the Matrix, I mean, Giles, what would you do?
Well, like Sophie says, like, it depends. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, obviously in the film, if we want to sort of use that as a sort of metaphor for it, Keanu Reeves was just some like techie drone. I can see why he chose to like find out more, because his life was fairly dull and boring. So he wasn't very fulfilled as a human being. So maybe if maybe I would take the pill, but then at the same time, I don't know. It's a hard question, actually.
Yeah, I think the scene when Joe Pantoliano is in the restaurant and he's being offered by agents
steak and
he's eating that steak. I mean, once you see that steak, just keep in
like,
the simulation.
I'll
stay in the simulation. I'm not.
What he's saying, I know this steak isn't real, but it's delicious.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No,
fair play.
Yeah, it's the steak that does it.
I sometimes think, if life is a simulation, like sometimes it's fun to imagine when something good happens, like, something good happens at work or whatever. And then I'm always like, well, if I am being controlled, like they've got my back right now, they love me.
You've leveled up, basically.
Yeah,
exactly.
They're doing me a solid here.
Do you guys ever have that thought that you're in the Truman Show? Do you ever think that this is all being set up just for me?
Not really, no.
No.
There are times where for a split second I might think about it, but then I might think, but all those people that are walking over there wouldn't be walking over there just because they're in my show. It doesn't make sense. That would mean that you guys are just here specifically now to be on my podcast, which I mean you are, but that would be the only thing you would do, and then you'd go off and.
I think if I started to think that I was in the Truman Show, I'd be kind of really aware of people trying to sell me stuff all the time.
Everything,
look at this lovely pickle that I've got out of the cupboard. I don't know. I'd just be very wary of everybody.
Just Duff beer. If you fancy a real cool beer, have a Duff beer.
Yeah, I only ever record with these pink microphone covers.
Okay. So only two of us had that one. That was very close to being our first one. My number 9, I'm going for the Illuminati. I'm going for some kind of...
Okay, that's my number 4.
That's your number 4, okay.
I mean, I've included David Icke within that because Lizard's like running the world.
I think some kind of new world order or something that's above everybody, that is controlling everything. Now, I kind of think that if you sort of really look at everything in a concentrated sense, there are only a certain amount of people or certain amount of companies, if you like, that control everything, that own everything, and then they must have some kind of force or some kind of power in that. Whether it's an actual, what always gets me is when somebody who becomes really famous, all of a sudden they're a member of the Illuminati, and you think, well, what's the cutoff? Like if you have 500 million. If you have 499,999,999 pounds, you're just under, but you get another pound. All of a sudden, you can come in. We'll tell you all our secrets. I don't believe in that kind of thing.
And when do you become a lizard?
Well,
because at one point you're human, and then you're lizard folk.
Or would you not always be a lizard? And that's
I mean, but like if you're saying like you only get into the Illuminati at a certain point, like is that like your lizardness is kind of drawn out?
Well, I think they're different things, aren't they?
Okay.
like the Illuminati is like a secret society, right? And it kind of like, you know, and to be fair, like, don't they say that 99% of the world's money is owned by 1% of the population? So there's the whole idea of the 1%ers and all of that sort of stuff. It kind of makes sense, you know. There are those 1%ers and certain people within the world that are more powerful, for sure.
Listen to Sophie, the voice of reason.
I mean, it's true though, like, you know, the little people over here.
But I also feel like something like that, or say something like Did We Land on the Moon or JFK assassination, I feel they have to be false, because Donald Trump has been president of the United States. And you know that if those things are true, the first thing he would do is come out and go, they're true, they're all true, they're all true. Because he wouldn't be able to stop himself. He would have to be the first person to tell everybody. That's why I
don't let him near that information.
But he would ask, wouldn't he? You know that he would ask as president. That'd be the first thing he'd ask. Come on, say where the aliens are.
Being a weird lizard man, I don't know if he would be able to like.
That's it. He's the king of the lizard men.
I think the minute he got voted in, the White House just went chaotic and was like, everybody, right, we need to sort the files out. We need to have fake files that Trump can't read.
Because he's stealing all the files. He's putting them in his Mar-a-Lago toilet.
Oh, my Lord. Okay, number 8 for you then, please, Giles.
Aliens built the pyramids.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, have you been watching Ancient Aliens by any chance?
No, I haven't. But
you haven't seen that?
No. What's Ancient Aliens?
You would love it.
Would I? Would I though?
It's got this guy in it. I'm going to Google it actually, because there's this guy in it that presents it who's wacky as fuck.
Really? You surprise me. It's not being presented by Brian Cox.
Brian Cox, yeah.
So
he's got wacky hair.
So this theory, while you're looking it up, this theory has been around for quite a while, but in recent years, some big celebs or big, influencers like Joe Rogan, Elon Musk has also tweeted about this, because I think that the conspiracy comes from the idea that ancient Egyptians couldn't be sophisticated enough to have created some brick structure. It has to be something that's new or made by another worldly thing, because it's impossible that 4,000 years ago some people could have built something. I mean, they took 80 odd years to make some of those buildings, so I think but anyway, so that's kind of the principle of the conspiracy theory. Sorry, Soph, who's the guy?
Just Google Giorgio A. Tsoukalos. That's Tsoukalos. God, I probably butchered that name.
Yeah, that should be a problem.
GIORGIO.
Yeah.
I hope everybody listening is now Googling this as well, because otherwise it's a lost it's a lost cause.
ATSOUKALOS.
He's Swiss, is he?
Oh, I don't know.
I found him. Here he is. Can you see that? There he is.
Oh, there he is.
Look,
that's him. That's
not the face of a conspiracy theorist at all.
No. I mean, what is his what is his profession? What is his
God,
so he's a qualifications?
So he is a ufologist.
Oh.
So he's a promoter of pseudoscientific ancient astronauts hypothesis.
Okay.
Just your regular kind of guy.
Yeah.
So he's done a show, has he, that you've watched?
Well, no, he does a lot of presenting.
I opened up the picture more fully. So,
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean by the hair? He's hilarious. He's like a mad professor, but he presents on this show, Ancient Aliens, which is where I think this has all come from.
I'll see if I can find some footage of that to put on the video player.
So he's Swiss.
It's hilarious.
He's Swiss. Yeah, and so that's good. So I'll check that out for sure.
Yeah.
I know that one of the points that Joe Rogan says is that he thinks that that society back in those days was a lot more advanced than we are.
Right. I've heard that.
And that then there was some kind of cataclysmic event that completely wiped them out, and then everybody had to start again, and that's the reason that the technology from back then we've got no record of it. Again, it's a theory that you can either believe or not, but
I've heard that as well about some ancients, and not Egyptians, but some other ancient civilization.
Mayan and stuff like Mayan.
No,
Aztecs, that kind of thing.
No, like some kind of I would guess you would call it fictional
Yeah, just like
The rest of
civilization.
these conspiracy theories.
a lost
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
Atlantis and that kind of thing, a lost kind of
Exactly.
civilization.
Yeah, well, I've heard that as well, that Atlantis was actually a really civilized civilization
Yeah.
that had all this technology, and they got greedy and destroyed the earth like we're doing now, to be fair.
And
Which is probably where it's
if ever
come
there was a
from.
place where a band called Wet 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 would be successful, it would be
Yeah.
Atlantis, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm just waiting for you to press that button and it's just meow.
It will be. It will be. Don't worry. Okay then, Sophie, your number 8 then, please.
Okay, my number 8 was Denver International Airport.
Ooh.
Have
okay.
either of you heard of this before?
I have heard of this. I can't remember what the context was though, but I have
It's all
heard of it.
it's all kind of nonsense surrounding this airport. And it's a funny one. Like, it's a strange airport. It's kind of got some weird art in it. There's a big horse statue outside the front. And I've flown into it quite a few times and never realized there was all these conspiracies until someone was like, "Oh, you know about the Denver International Airport conspiracies, don't you?" And I Googled it, and it's kind of like, first of all, they thought that there was some kind of like underground tunnels and bunkers and stuff for all the elite people to go to if there was an alien invasion. And there's some alien, someone's drawn a picture of an alien on the wall. There's some weird apocalyptic artwork. And then they think that there's some kind of Nazi affiliation as well, because they say that the runways are in the shape of a swastika, which they're not really. Very vague.
Not really.
Well, I mean, you could interpret it as a swastika, but you could also
Okay.
interpret it as anything, really.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they also think that the airport is governed by I can't even bloody remember now. There was so many, governed by some organization. It might have even been the Nazis, I can't remember, but there's just so much swirling around Denver International Airport. And at one point they did a bunch of work on it, and one of the baggage belts wouldn't work or something. So then that became a big conspiracy. Like, oh, that's just proof. It's proof that, they're up to something. It's just so weird. And it's just an airport. And it's just a weird building with lots of weird art. That's it.
But do you feel that it's just somebody that was sat and had a layover maybe at Denver, and they're there for like 7 hours, and they think, I'm sick and tired of this fucking airport. Right, what can I make up? And all of a sudden it's like, it's the Nazis. It beggars belief.
That looks like a swastika. I think that they've really capitalized on it, because the airport itself has made a lot of money from these conspiracies, and they had like a whole conspiracy theory month or week or something where they just like fully went all out and like hammed up these signs of aliens and stuff like that.
There you go. That's where the making money out of it comes from, isn't it?
Right, exactly. But I feel like if you go to any airport, like if you went to Heathrow, for example, there's pictures of the Queen everywhere. I'm sure someone could.
She's a lizard.
Yeah, I'm sure someone could think of a conspiracy theory to do with that.
Giles.
You're just laughing to yourself.
He's loving it.
I love your stifling a laugh. She's a lizard.
She's a lizard.
She's a lizard.
Oh god.
Oh dear. I
Right.
need to take a bit more of a delve into that, because that
It's really weird.
I have
It
never
just
heard
sounds-
of that at all.
it just sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
Oh,
It's like-
really? Yeah, it is. I mean, I'd never heard of it before someone mentioned it to me, but yeah, it's just bizarre. It's just proof that humans can make a conspiracy theory out of anything. I think.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's quite a random one, isn't it? It's like quite a weird.
Yeah. Why
Like,
Denver?
just out of the airport.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something about Denver as a place is I think it's less likely to have any huge natural disasters or something compared to many other places. Like, there's probably not going to be any hurricanes or tsunami. It's safe from tsunamis, just stuff like that. I've heard that about Colorado. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that's why the bunker's there.
Right. And they were just bored and wanted to make something up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so safe. We have to do something.
Yes, just
I-
to make
do you
us
know what, though?
interesting. Yeah.
I heard a true story when I was in Hawaii about a celebrity that is similar, that is actually true, and I'll tell you after we stop recording this, because it's top secret.
Oh,
But
okay.
My friend told me.
Okay. Sorry, listeners, about that. Sorry
Yeah.
that we tempted you with that. But,
Alright.
okay, my number 8 was Living in the Matrix. So we're back to you then, Giles, with your number 7.
Well, we sort of touched on it a minute ago. The Lost City of Atlantis. I put this in specifically because Sophie and I have talked about this before, and I know she's quite keen on it. as a
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I put it in.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan had somebody on the podcast where he said he thought he knew where Atlantis used to be because the way that the seabed kind of rides up, it's like it's corroded by, and he just had different ways of saying that is where a building would have been, and it wouldn't be like that naturally. That something would have been there and it's under the sea.
Okay, were you convinced or?
I mean, it's like anything, isn't it? It's like, unless you see, for me, unless I see a good quality photograph or video, charts and diagrams mean nothing. It can be someone's got a much higher intellect than me, which isn't hard. Just a good way of describing something will make me go, okay, you've got a really good point there.
Yeah. No, I was going to say there's a Disney documentary about Atlantis. Well, it's like finding lost cities or something, and one of them was Atlantis, and it comes up with this place, and it's like it was definitely here because they've taken like when they take photos above sonar or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it looks like it, and you're like, oh, that's it. And being kind of gullible, I'm like, yeah, that's it. I truly believe that is where Atlantis is. And then at the end it's like, but we don't think it's there, we think it's this place. And they take you somewhere else, and you're like, it's definitely that place as well. And then they're like, but also it could be this place. And I'm like, I just believe anything. Honestly, I'll just believe anything.
It all gets shot to shit when it's like that, isn't it? Then because then it could be anywhere. It could be anywhere or nowhere.
And I'll believe all of them.
I think Sophie and I first started talking about this because we were doing like a Netflix watch together type thing one night, and we were watching some show about like kind of Mayan history or something.
Oh,
and it was like and
what about that?
And I was sort of being very skeptical about it, like, oh yeah, whatever. And then you were like, but you must believe in Atlantis, surely.
Yeah, I'm like, look at the facts, Giles. Look at the facts.
Look at the facts. Look what Joe Rogan said.
Yeah. I read it on Wikipedia. It must be true.
Oh dear. But it is fascinating.
So that's why I had to have it in, because I thought it was a thing that we talked about.
But the thing is, nobody knows what really happened 400-500 years ago, because nobody was there. It's just stuff that's been passed on, taking it from art, and you don't know. I've always said I would love to have been in the middle of a medieval battle to see whether it would be like it is in the movies. I can imagine it would just be horrible and probably wouldn't last very long.
Be stinky as well.
Oh my God, can you imagine? It would just be, what a mess. But
do you know what? I don't know if you remember this, Pav. See, I think some of my skepticism about Atlantis has stemmed from the fact that it must have been the 70s actually.
Not the man from Atlantis.
No, there was a movie called Warlords of Atlantis.
Oh my God. No.
It's horrendous. Like, it's a bit like those. Do you remember the Sinbad? Oh, something's happened to my. Yeah.
Where you gone?
You're looking very pensive there, though.
What happened?
I tell you, it's because we're doing conspiracies. They're trying to shut us down.
It's the bird pigeon Wi-Fi people.
It is.
What happened?
I don't know. The video has gone.
Oh, this. Can you hear me still?
We can still hear you.
That's weird.
Oh, it's all coming back.
They're not for us.
Not for us. I'll tell you
I was
what.
about to go into
Atlantis, which is a fantastic film.
Yeah. The studio that did that movie, they do not want you to talk about it, Giles. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's the Illuminati.
It is. I'll tell you, the weird thing is, back in the day when we were doing our first kind of podcast, we did a podcast called Movie Heaven. There he is. We had a woman on who was a massive conspiracy theorist.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Amazing.
And while we were talking, my microphone stand collapsed. And she went,
dun, dun, dun.
She went, there, see?
Yeah, that's the evidence.
They're trying to shut you down.
It's the Illuminati.
Oh, wow.
And for a split second, I shit myself, because I thought, oh my God.
She's right.
And it wasn't. It was just that the thing wasn't like, you've got a, why have you got
What's happening?
What was that?
It is.
So anyway, Warlords of Atlantis, Doug McClure.
Doug McClure.
Yeah, so basically there's these people on a boat, and then this massive giant kind of octopus pulls them down to Atlantis. And then in Atlantis, in the movie, they've got very high technology. You can see the future and all sorts of stuff. And there's a scientist guy, and it's all very silly. But yeah, that's my kind of thing about Atlantis has been that movie.
Right. Yeah, because mine would be Man from Atlantis with Patrick Duffy. That's the only time I knew about that, because he had the webbed fingers and the webbed feet. And
Yeah,
stuff.
they had webbed things in this.
Oh, did
thing.
they?
Yeah.
I'll have to
Yeah,
look
it's a
for
very
that.
it's a very Atlantis thing to have, like webbed stuff.
Yeah, webbed stuff.
Yeah, that's weird because
Web
wasn't
digits.
wasn't Atlantis like a real? It was just a normal city that flooded and then went underwater. But somehow it's become that everyone. Oh, it's a different. How many cameras have you got on you? What is going on?
Gremlin going on here.
What on
Here we
earth?
go. I'm telling you, it's because we've
Right.
never had this before, and we're doing
Can we
conspiracies.
move on from Atlantis? This is scaring me
Yeah,
now.
I think we need to.
Those
I'm
Atlantis
so sorry. I hope
truthers.
this doesn't mess up your audio.
No, it's fine. Those Atlantis truthers, they're really kicking us hard tonight. Anyway,
I'm just waiting for the next shot of Giles to be like the top of his head. I don't even know where that camera is.
look at this. What worries me is that we're in Giles's
I'm back.
bedroom. We're in Giles's bedroom, and there's at least 2 different cameras in there already.
No,
I
no,
mean,
I don't even want to know
No.
what you and Michelle are up to.
I'll
in your
tell you
spare
what
time.
it is because my laptop's there and that's got its camera on, and I've got a webcam up here. You see?
Right.
So that's why it's
okay.
flicking. There's one there. That's why.
yeah,
not
conspiracy
multiple
there.
Sure,
It's
sure.
the,
Yeah, it's not multiple
the Giles
cameras.
Paley Phillips bedroom conspiracy.
Oh God, that's gonna spread like wildfire on
that's,
Twitter.
that's the episode title. That is. Okay, then, Sophie, your number 7, please.
Okay, my number 7 is Finland does not exist.
Oh yeah, I almost put this one on actually.
I've never heard this one.
Well, I hadn't heard of it before we interviewed Dom Jolly on our podcast, and he was talking about conspiracy theories, and that was one that he introduced to us. Apparently, so the origins of this is that there was a Reddit thread all about like silly things parents used to tell their kids, like lies that parents told their kids. And someone said, oh, for some reason, my parents told me when I was a kid that Finland didn't exist. And everyone was sort of laughing about it. Anyway, that sort of spread like wildfire. And before you knew it, there's a bunch of people that now believe that Finland actually doesn't exist. And there's not really any way of proving that it exists because, you know, if you fly to Finland, you get off at the airport and it says, welcome to Finland.
Okay.
Then how do you know you're actually in Finland? You could be anywhere.
Wouldn't that be the same with anywhere?
with
that
every
you went on
country,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, totally. But I think
Denver doesn't exist.
No.
Yeah, exactly. They I think they're saying, oh well, actually it doesn't exist. It's just did they say something about it's something to do with China? I don't know, but it's just utterly ridiculous.
That was random. It's something to do with China.
Or like they're using it as like a base for military operations or something. I don't know, but it's
wow.
like it's just taken on a life of its own, and now there's a huge bunch of people that think that no, Finland doesn't actually exist, and it is really hard to prove that a country exists.
Yeah. What about the people that live in Finland?
Well, you know, people would say they think they live in Finland, but they don't because it doesn't exist.
So
Probably like in Sweden or something. I don't know.
Or the people that play for Finland, the international football team. What would you? I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
They're
That's something we need-
they're
yeah.
deluded. They're deluded.
it feels like there's
The
a
whole
lot of
nation.
evidence to suggest that Finland is a country and that people live
Yeah.
there. And yeah.
But you know, if 7 or 8 people think that it doesn't exist,
7 or
that's
8.
a possibility.
Is that your cut-off, Sophie?
Yeah.
For a
Yeah.
conspiracy
Yeah.
theory, is 7 or 8.
And they're all in one family as well.
If it's
maybe.
more than half a dozen, then it's definitely true.
And they all live in Finland as well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, right. My number 7 is the good old flat Earth. And flat Earth
that's my number 5.
Is that your
Yeah,
number 5?
Yeah.
I had that one for number 6.
Okay, there we go. There's our first one.
All round the
That's
globe.
one.
All around
Yeah.
the globe. It's I will watch videos just to see how deluded these people are. And no offense if you are a flat Earth person, but you're deluded. I don't understand how you can feel that they're just the same as people that don't think that Finland exists. It's just
Yeah.
a ridiculous concept that time and time again you get found to be wrong, yet you still won't accept it. I don't quite understand
Yeah.
when it comes
I
to
guess with the flat Earth one as well, like it knocks onto lots of other conspiracy theories, like, you know, like space travels doesn't exist and like satellites and
Oh,
blah, blah, blah,
right,
and all this. So I guess, you know, because you know, obviously there's no footage of the round Earth. So that it kind of had a bit of a knock-on effect into other ones, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if
think-
you're a flat earther, you probably have other conspiracy theories.
I think
Well,
so.
The bank.
That is
Yeah.
true. And I was going to say as well, the flat earth one is one that particularly people seem to form some kind of like identity based on. Like they really take it as their like, it's a lifestyle, it's a way of life, you know, like you can't tell them any different kind of
No.
thing. Whereas, like I said at the beginning of the show, if someone came to me and said the earth is actually flat, we've discovered that, it wouldn't change my life in any way. I would kind of be like, oh really, that's weird, and then get on with my life. But these flat earthers, it's like they've built this whole life around it. It's crazy.
And I think
Like, I might go and walk to the edge.
but then why don't they?
Yeah,
Why don't
exactly.
they do that? That's why I don't understand. Is if have the courage of your convictions,
Yeah.
and go to the edge, and then get some footage, and then come back and go, look, here is the
I found
edge.
the edge of the earth.
Yeah,
I found the edge, and I nearly dropped off, but I didn't. But here is a
Yeah.
picture of the edge.
Yeah.
Then I
Is
would
it-
say, right.
Do they think it's like Newfoundland or something?
I don't think Newfoundland exists. I don't think. I think it's next to Finland, isn't it? Newfoundland.
Oh
Yes,
right,
next
right,
well,
right.
it's
Sorry,
near
yeah,
Atlantis.
sorry. That's why they don't go there, because they're like, no, I would go, but it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
And
What about
also,
Old
you
Foundland?
know, it makes you think, have you ever been on a boat and like just looked at the horizon and seen the curve? Like,
Exactly.
It's so weird.
I know there was footage. I can't remember who it was that did it, but some flat earthers decided to look through a telescope or something and see there was a point, and if there was a curve, you wouldn't be able to see the point or something. And then they looked and they couldn't see the point, and they were going, we can't see the point. And it's kind of gave them their proof, but they still wouldn't accept it. They said that there was something wrong with the
see.
camera, something wrong with the telescope. I don't know. It's just
Which is
ridiculous.
then it makes me think it's the fascinating thing is the conspiracy theorist. What is
Yeah.
it that drives them to have this? You know, even when you're shown all the evidence in
Yeah.
the world, why you still believe it's not? You know,
I think it's this idea that they have some like unknown knowledge, and they're like, you know, they're not believing what the higher powers are just telling us. They're feeding us misinformation. They have this like special thing that no one else has. And I think you never ever find, unless a conspiracy theorist is really making money out of it and taking advantage of, you know, innocent people and vulnerable people like the Alex Jones of the world, you never find a conspiracy theorist who is like feels really happy and in control of their own life. Do you know what I mean? It goes back to the Matrix thing we were talking about. Like, it's often these people that probably do feel a bit out of control in their lives that cling on to these things.
yeah, there's a paranoia. There's a people are out to get us. Like that, you know, there's a kind of distrust of everything. I think,
Yeah.
as well. But like you say, there's that kind of righteous indignation that, you know, they've got some knowledge that other people don't have, which is what I was saying at the beginning with some people's conspiracy, their truth, because they to think that it's, you know, to have this thing, it's got to be true that
They
I've got
do
this thing.
believe it, yeah. I think it also can link into the Illuminati. Say you've got some kind of big new world order that is looking after everything. If the little people are just worried and fighting amongst themselves about something like flat Earth, they're not going to worry what the big people are doing. They're all fighting about these stupid little things. So let them worry about all that. And, you know, whether there's Atlantis, whether there's aliens, and we'll carry on just doing what we need to do, making billions and trillions of dollars or whatever.
Yeah.
That's another conspiracy theory. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Giles, you're number 6 then, please.
The Titanic didn't crash and sink.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that one.
Yeah. Apparently, it's to do with the fact that they think it got swapped out before it set sail.
That's
For
right.
the Olympia, which was the
Yeah.
other kind of like, it's a sister ship of,
Right.
of the same. I think it was made by the same.
White Star,
ship-
wasn't it?
yeah, White Star, yeah.
White Star, yeah.
And that, you know, Titanic's just like, you know, okay somewhere, but
Oh, okay, but either way, a ship
either way,
crashed
something
and killed lots of people.
exactly. So it's like a point again. It's totally pointless. And obviously, there's irrefutable evidence that the actual Titanic, sank. And obviously, there are remains of it down in the ocean that some
Indeed.
people have gone down to. So
Yeah. So it
it's
seems like
almost pointless.
it seems like that conspiracy is kind of like they know that it happened because there's lots of evidence and they know that lots of people died. So all they can really do is say, well, it wasn't actually named the Titanic.
it wasn't Titanic.
It was a different name.
Yeah,
So
it's almost like it's just so a big ship
Yeah.
sank, crashed into an iceberg, sank, and killed lots of people. I don't give a fuck what it's called.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
a big ship. Yeah, loads of people died. It was really tragic.
What was the name of the other ship? Did you say
Olympia? The Olympia.
The Olympia.
Yeah, Olympia.
Yeah. Thing is though, that
So-
you'd never been able to say that something was a Titanic struggle if the Titanic hadn't have,
Wow, that's it.
you know.
No,
that
you'd
whole-
say it was an Olympic struggle.
There you go.
I don't know. I think the Olympia sounds like an even cooler name, to be honest with you. I would have rather it have been called the Olympia.
So it was called. The reason it was called Titanic was because one of the guys who owned that shipping company, it was part of J.P. Morgan.
Right.
That company. He was called a titan of the industry, so they called it the Titanic.
There you go.
So there's a little fact for you.
Great
Whatever-
facts
what-
there, Giles.
What happened to White Star? Did they ever work again?
Yeah.
Can't remember. I went to
No.
the Titanic Museum in Belfast, which, if anyone gets a chance to go, is really, really good. I can't remember what they said about White Star, whether it carried on, but it was.
Yeah.
There was no.
Faded into obscurity.
Yeah,
Here's another little nugget of fact that that's Titanic sank off Newfoundland.
It just fell off
See?
the edge. It fell off the
Every
edge.
conspiracy is just all linked.
Interesting.
They're all linked.
Yeah. Just out of interest, because I didn't put it on my list, and I doubt either of you guys did. It's quite strange. But have you heard about the Alaskan Triangle?
No.
Or was it like Bermuda Triangle, but in Alaska?
Yeah, exactly. But it kind of takes up almost the whole continent, really.
Right.
Continent,
wow.
bloody hell, the whole state.
Right.
Don't clip me saying that Alaska is a continent, for the love of God.
You just said it again, so I can take that Alaska is a continent bit. So you said it twice there, so thank you.
But it almost takes up the whole state, and it's just like a bunch of strange things happening, like ships. I mean, like you can't really say ships because there aren't. It's not on the sea. It's like, on the land. But planes that coming down and stuff like that. Maybe ships off of Alaska. But yeah, lots of weird things happening.
I didn't realize there were
Alaska.
two triangles. So you got one in Alaska and one in Bermuda.
Apparently so.
Which one would you
So-
rather get lost in?
Neither.
Because I think
well,
Bermuda's a bit warmer, right?
That's true.
yeah. And Alaska's full of like weirdos, right?
Yeah, lots of conspiracy theories.
I can't believe
Yeah.
you said that, Sophie, because our podcast is like number 6 in the Alaskan comedy charts.
Yeah,
Is
and
it?
number 5 in Bermuda.
Is it?
Well, I think Alaskans are great people,
They
but
are.
I will
Alaskans
say
are great.
They
yeah.
are great.
you tend to go to Alaska if you're like on the lam, right? Like if you're on the
That
run
is true.
from something or someone. That's
Yeah.
why
I
lots
was only
of
joking about that,
weirdos.
but please don't say anything about any Guatemalan people because we're
Oh, okay.
apparently very big in Guatemala. I don't know why.
Great country. What
Great
country
country.
were we big in, Giles? You said the other day or something.
Oh, the Cayman Islands. We're big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should go on tour.
I would love to go on tour.
Cayman
Cuba,
Islands.
the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Mm.
Wonderful. Okay, so Sophie, number 6, you said flat Earth.
Yeah.
And at number 6, I said the death of Princess Diana.
Mm.
So, I didn't
Read the
mean
room,
to press
Pav,
that
read
one.
the
I
room.
didn't mean to press that one because it's time for this.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Okay, we're going to have a quiz. Now, again, I've taken all of these questions and answers, or these answers, from the internet, from a poll from 2019. Okay, I'm going to give you a conspiracy theory, and I want you guys to tell me what percentage of people from the poll thought that it was true.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but what are these the poll? What sort of people are they? Are they from Alaska or?
They
they
it's,
Bermudan people?
No, they are. It was a US poll.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
80% on
important.
each.
That
was
is important to know.
It was a US poll. I've got 10 of them, and whoever gets it nearest gets the point. Okay. So, moon landings are fake. What percentage of this 2019 poll?
10.
You're saying 10, Giles? Sophie?
Americans, I would say like 41%.
Okay, it was 11%.
Oh.
So Giles gets the point.
I looked that up earlier.
Well, did you?
Oh, he's cheating.
Well, not really, because I
Right,
did
scrap
some
that,
research.
Scrap that.
I mean, to
I
be
did some
fair,
research, Sophie, and I've been
yeah,
honest
but-
about it.
I feel like I wildly overestimated how
Well, you
stupid
did, I
Americans
know,
are.
you did. Right, chemtrails.
Okay.
Sophie, you can go first this time.
I'm gonna say lower. I'm gonna say 7%.
Okay.
Oh, I was going to say 7.
Giles?
Okay, I'll go 4.
It was 10%. So, Sophie, you get that one. Well done. Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone. Giles?
Ooh.
16.
Okay. Sophie?
Really? I was going to say like 76%.
The answer was 65%. So, Sophie,
Wow.
you get that one.
Yeah.
You get that one.
Yes.
Climate change is a hoax. Sophie, over to you first.
God, this one's depressing. I would say like 22%.
Okay. Giles?
Sadly.
I think maybe higher, because I'm just thinking like a lot of Republicans don't believe it's true. I'm going to say 37%.
It was 17%. So,
Oh.
Sophie, another one for you.
You're doing well, mate. You're doing well.
Okay. Number 5. Government is hiding aliens. Giles.
12%.
Okay. Sophie?
Was this, how recent is this poll?
This was 2019.
Oh, so this was before all of that stuff came out then. I'd say like 30%.
Okay. It actually said it was 68% of people believe the government was
What?
hiding
What?
aliens.
68%.
Yeah.
68%. So,
Okay.
Sophie,
How many
you
is that?
got-
My God, what is that in millions? Right?
Well,
That's
I'm not-
loads.
I mean, it's not obviously not every single American has taken the poll.
No, I know, but if that's indicative of the population,
I'm just relaying the information. Okay.
Don't
Charles
shoot the
is not a
messenger.
good loser.
Yes. Okay, so whose go is it now? Is it you, Sophie? I think it's you next.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sophie,
right.
Yes, yeah. 9/11 was an inside job.
Okay, I will say 65%.
Okay.
I think
Giles?
it's a lot lower than that. I think probably 18.
It was 25%. So, Giles, you got that one. Well done. Loch Ness Monster is real.
What,
Giles.
Americans saying this?
Yeah, Giles.
I think it's probably quite low. 6.
Okay, Sophie?
I'll say like 12.
It was actually 50%.
50%.
said that the Loch Ness Monster is real. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, man. They're definitely from Alaska, these people. aren't they?
Definitely. Sophie, the Earth is flat.
2%.
Okay, Giles?
I'll go 3.
It was 3%.
Wow.
Dead
Hey,
on.
that
Well
is-
done,
You get an
Giles.
extra point for exact point.
Don't you think that's
I mean,
a lot
I will.
though?
I'll
That's a
give you-
high number.
That is
It
a
should
lot,
be
yeah.
like
0 points, yeah,
0.0001%.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Okay, Giles, for you. Elvis is still alive.
I think that's probably not massively high. I reckon 7.
Okay, Sophie?
I'll go 9.
It was 11%.
Wow.
Okay, Giles, for you to draw, you need to get this one dead on. Okay? So 5G is toxic. Sophie?
Ooh.
I think 40%.
Okay. Giles?
I'm going to go a bit lower, 36.
It was 24%. So it was
wow.
6 to Sophie, 5 to Giles. Well done, Sophie. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
Do you know what? I think if they did this poll in England,
Oh, it'd be
it would all be like
really low.
like minuscule numbers. And again, I think it's just because English people just don't care.
I think you're right. I do. I genuinely think you're right. I
Yeah.
think
we're
they,
not as into it, are we? I think conspiracy theories in general.
And the things that surprised me were the ones that I would think were more realistic, less people seem to believe in. Like
the lost city of
9/11 being an inside job or something, I would have thought more people would be open to that idea and be like, yeah, probably, they probably, there's something going on there. But then the Loch Ness Monster, they're like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, that checks out. Yeah.
the more real world things you think would have a higher kind of thing than fantastical monsters kind of thing. Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay, back to it. So Giles, you had Flat Earth at number 5.
Did, yeah.
So Sophie, what is your number 5?
My number 5 was the Men in Black.
Ooh.
Have you got a Here Come the Men in Black? thing?
I got that. Is that?
Oh,
There
yeah.
you go.
No, that's shit. So I don't know if you know much about the Men in Black, like the real life.
The real,
Men in Black.
the real ones.
The real ones.
Not
The real
not
ones.
Not the Tommy Lee Jones.
Not the
Will
fictional
Smith
ones, the real ones. So the conspiracy is that the Men in Black are kind of like the clearers of the alien world. So if you see something to do with aliens or you see something extraterrestrial, the Men in Black come in and wipe your memories, or they threaten you. Oh yeah.
There you go.
They threaten you and
Right.
they force you not to tell anyone. They'll turn up and they look really creepy because they have very like strange features that look kind of like almost human but not quite. Like often they'll be described as not having any facial hair or eyebrows or eyelashes or anything.
Hang on, so this is the Men in Black that look like this?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Really, really tall with black suits on, sometimes like a black hat, black sunglasses, and they show up at a place where someone's like talking about they've seen an alien encounter or talking about it or writing a book about it, and they show up and threaten them, or sometimes wipe people's memories. There's various different stories about that.
Wow. Is anal probes on the table?
Oh yes, please.
They might do that. Yeah, if that's what you want, I guess you could ask for that.
Well, I know
Different
that with
strokes for different folks.
I know with aliens that there is things like anal probes, but I didn't realise that the Men in Black were supposed to be sort of almost alien-like. And is that where anal probes?
Right. I thought you were requesting it.
I mean, look, I don't mind.
yeah.
I'm here on my own at the moment.
Would they be up for that? Or...
I don't know.
Hi guys, thanks for coming round. What equipment have you brought with you?
You're telling me you haven't brought the anal probes? I'm not
What
interested.
anal probes or?
That's the only thing I was looking forward to.
Yes.
But I watched a YouTube video. I was going to say a documentary. It is what it is. It was a YouTube.
You showed
video.
me this. I've watched this with you.
And because I showed it.
Show everybody, do
I was
you?
like, "Watch! Look at the facts. Don't lie, Giles.
Yes.
Look at their face and look at the fact they haven't got eyebrows. It must be real."
This guy was banging on about how he'd discovered some alien thing and he was starting talking about it, and he was in a hotel and some Men in Black visited him. Anyway, they got the footage from the CCTV and these people did come in and they looked really weird.
Yeah, I remember.
They were like
Yeah.
creepy, really tall men, both look exactly identical in black suits, and they kind of walk really strangely through the front door of the hotel.
Almost kind of hover. They sort of, is that right? They kind of almost hovered through. Like it was kind of, they were gliding. They weren't like walking normally.
Yeah, they were
I do
walking
remember
very like alien-like.
Yeah, I remember you showing me this factual YouTube video. But no, that footage was quite compelling though. It wasn't like they were, obviously whoever they were, they looked quite weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if they were normal, if they were just regular people, they looked quite odd.
Yeah.
And that was on YouTube.
It was on YouTube. I can send you the link if you want.
Please. I'll put it in the video playlist for our Patreon subscribers. Absolutely.
I think it was like a BuzzFeed Unsolved or something.
Yeah.
But it could have just been some weird twins or something.
Weird twins.
They look sort of albino like.
Oh really?
Yeah. No hair, facial hair.
That's
anyway,
quite creepy. Okay. So that was your number 5, Sophie. My number 5, we did mention it just a minute ago, but I put 9/11 in there because it's one of those ones that I think it kind of started the. I can't remember the name. What was the name of the podcast? There wasn't a podcast. The movie that was on YouTube about 9/11, like the whole conspiracy of 9/11, which was absolutely massive, and it was all
Fahrenheit
about
9/11. Obviously, the Michael Moore movie had some conspiracies in it, didn't it?
It did.
George Bush's kind of alignment to the Bin Laden family.
And the fact that Bin Laden was, their family had been planed out of America on the day after. And that was the thing what I was saying about the fact I'm easily led, because I like a lot of Michael Moore's stuff. And I watched that and I thought, well, then that has got to be the truth. Everything he's saying there has got to be true. I trust
Michael Moore. He was right about Columbine. He's been right about other stuff.
Exactly. But then you do see certain bits about other buildings that fell down where there was specific papers and that ended up getting destroyed, and money that went missing, and all of these things where you don't know whether it's true or it's false, or the fact that the BBC reported on certain bits of it that hadn't even happened before. There's a lot of stuff in it that you don't know, and I find that something like that, sometimes there's no smoke without fire. I don't mean that kind of horribly when you're talking about.
Ba-dum-bum.
No,
Don't you dare.
No, I'm not going to do that. Sophie did it then. Everybody, by the way.
Yeah,
I'll
that was
take
Sophie.
it. I'll
Sophie.
take the cancellation.
Yeah. So it kind of, but then I think that's what feeds. I think we were at the very start of that kind of thing where conspiracy theorists could have a real voice. And it was like a snowball rolling down a hill. It just grew and grew and grew, and now it becomes a thing where people just think there was something specifically not right about that, rather than it just being a horrible thing where terrorists decided. Because I've said this before, when you think about it, as horrible as it was a genius plan to use a fully fueled plane as a bomb. So. But there's just so many like loose ties there that you think, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you guys think when it comes to that.
Well, I never thought of it as a conspiracy theory, but I think we've got. I mean, I watched that not Fahrenheit 9/11 movie, and I thought it was quite compelling, like what Michael Moore was saying about these links to and the delay it took Bush to kind of start doing anything. I think he was in a school doing a book reading or something, and there was it was all delayed. I mean, to be fair, the guy was probably quite a lot shocked because he's like first attack on the US since Pearl Harbor or whatever. So I suppose there's a lot to be said. Like America has always thought themselves as being like kind of unattackable, and the fact that they had been attacked was probably quite a big shock to the system in that way. But yeah, so I think there's something to be said for some of that stuff, but then at the same time, I think, like you say, it's just it was an act of terrorism by a group that were so radicalized and desperate to make a difference to their cause that they did this horrendous thing.
What do you think about the conspiracy that it was the government that sort of let it happen so that they could go and invade Iraq? I mean, I find that seems a bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
that they would let but
I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of coincidences, which is I guess why people are suspicious. There's like a few people, like high profile people that were supposed to be in the tower or in one of the towers or on the plane, and then by chance weren't there when it happened. I think like Michael Jackson was one of them or something.
I think Mark Wahlberg was another one. He was supposed to be. I think he was supposed to be there. Yeah, and then it makes you think, well, maybe it is just one of, because there's probably lots and lots of people that were supposed to be there or supposed to be on the plane and weren't, and therefore that we don't know about them because they're not famous, know. Exactly.
But at the same time, I mean, dirty politics, it happens. It's one of those things where I try not to think too much about it, just because I think the most important thing are all the victims. But at the same time, if we found out tomorrow, something got leaked and we found out it was the government, I wouldn't be at all surprised.
No.
Americans.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, it comes with one that I've got coming up a little bit later on, in the fact that you don't quite realize just what kind of power, especially like an American government has, and what the dirty little things that they are doing all around the world that you don't realize and you never see, But yeah, that's what I've got for number 5. Giles, your number 4 was the Illuminati.
It was.
Sophie, your number 4.
So my number 4 is kind of a blanket conspiracy. So I know that we kind of touched on this with Giles's Avril Lavigne number 10. But mine is celebrity conspiracies around them either dying or their life in general. Like, we've had Avril Lavigne, Paul McCartney's apparently dead as well.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift's love life is apparently a complete sham. She just does it for the money. She's got some big
she's on the NFL
agreement
payroll as well, apparently.
Yeah.
I will not have anything said about my Tay-Tay, okay? Please.
Oh, don't. You're part of the problem, Pat.
I'm not part of the problem. I want to be part
You're
of the problem.
You're a sheep.
I wish I was part of her love life. I really do.
I think you've got to be like a multi-millionaire, NFL superstar.
Yeah, that's not going to happen then, is it?
And Stevie Wonder isn't blind either, apparently.
Well, I've seen footage of that. Of that. Yeah, there was a time when he was on stage with I think there was a load of people, but I think Paul McCartney was coming on the stage, and a microphone stand was falling towards somebody, and Stevie Wonder grabbed it and put it and stood it back up.
But he's got hearing and sense of like feel, touch and stuff. Like, would he?
But
Not?
well, I mean, look, I don't know. I mean, there's also been footage of somebody saying that.
I mean, if he's like sort of like, I don't know, what's something that you use your eyes for?
Well, like driving a car.
Reading.
Stevie Wonder apparently picked up some comedian and said, "Don't worry, I'll come and pick you up." And Stevie Wonder was driving the car. Now, I don't know if that's real or whether it's a comedian trying to get a bit out of it, but he said it was completely real. I'll try and find that footage and put it on the.
I would not be getting in a car. No offense, but I would not be getting a car that's driven by Stevie Wonder.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we were chatting to Rory Sutherland yesterday, was it, or the day? Yeah, yesterday, and he was chatting about how blind people still have that that sort of sense of survival. So if you throw something at a blind person, sometimes they'll just instinctively catch it,
right?
Or like put their arms out. It's like they know something's coming. And it's like your reptilian brain kind of reacts before the rest of your senses catch up.
Right.
So I wonder if it's got something to do with that. But
Possibly.
I do love the idea of him not being blind.
I did see another bit of footage when he was presenting Mariah Carey an award, and he held the microphone out for her, and she'd already walked behind him to go to another microphone, and he was stood on the stage just with his microphone hanging, standing out, not realizing that she wasn't near him. So. I don't know. I mean, but
wouldn't that's what you would do though, wouldn't you? If you
what a long con that would be. That he's been like 50 years pretending or longer pretending that he's been blind.
That's proper method acting. That
it is, but he's got enough talent that he wouldn't need to do that. No, I think he is. I think he is. But anyway, that is a good one. There's so many in that, the celeb conspiracies.
Have you got a favourite, Soph? Have you got a favourite celeb? I mean, obviously there's obvious ones like Elvis being alive and all that kind of stuff, but is there one that's
Tupac? My favorite one is Mark Ruffalo is actually single. It's still available and it has a crush on me for some reason. I don't know who started that. It's just a weird one that I heard, and I'm up for it. I'm open to that.
Okay, that's fair.
I'm not sure I'm not sure that's a conspiracy theory.
I think that's just a rumor that you're spreading.
Yeah. I was hoping I would spread it now.
But then again, Giles, if 7 or 8 think that, then it's a conspiracy. And
that's true.
So we've got 3 now. We just need like a few more.
Just a few more.
I'm not agreeing with you.
Go and tell the kids and your family. Tell the kids to put it on YouTube.
And then
no, I don't really have a favourite. I don't really care too much about celebrities. So again, it's one of those things where I'm like, if Taylor Swift's making a bit of money off of, I don't think she needs it, to be honest with you. But
I don't think she does. She's got a tour that's grossed $1 billion. I don't think she needs any of that kind of stuff. She really don't. So just lay off my Tay-Tay. That's all I'm saying. Okay. God. I'll leave your Mark Ruffalo alone. You leave my Tay-Tay alone. That sounds really bad.
Truth.
Okay, doesn't it? That sounds a lot.
It's a euphemism.
It does, yeah. Okay, my number 4. I'm going with Roswell and aliens. Mainly just aliens in general. I think.
Okay, that's my number 1.
That's your number 1. Okay,
the existence of alien life.
Yeah, I think if you look at the maths of it all, there has to be something else out there. Whether we'll ever find out that there's something else, with the billions and billions of galaxies that are out there, we can't be the only one. But whether we'll ever find that out, I think if aliens had come to us, we'd know by now, surely.
Well, we do.
Yes or no?
And why have the aliens got better technology than us that they can do that?
Because maybe they're at their stage of evolution where they were like the Egyptians all those years ago.
Right, they're much more advanced.
Yeah, maybe.
Right,
but then if they are, why haven't they?
It's damn luck that we're here, to be honest. I've watched the Brian Cox Planets program. Like we're like the Earth becoming habitable was just like, we're supposed to be Mars or something, and then the water drew out or whatever, and then they were like, oh well, this other
You're
place.
so technical, Giles.
I know.
Yeah.
The water.
You should be a
water
presenter.
left. I know. I should. Yeah, I should do podcasts. The water's gone, so now this place has got some water. Oh, maybe life will start there. And it's just a bit damn luck, right?
It's a fluke. Yeah, absolute fluke.
No. I think the chances. Do you know how many planets there are in the universe?
The trillions.
Right. And what are the chances that one out of how many planets are in our solar system? 9? 1 out of 9, 8 or 9 planets, that one of them has humans, has humans or life species.
So you think
of
one of the other
trillions of
9
planets.
has? Or you
No,
just
I
think
think that
somewhere else in the universe?
if you think if we're going on solar systems, 1 out of 9 statistically has human, or not even necessarily humans, but like life on it. Then think about all the other solar systems and all the other galaxies.
Yeah.
It's just statistically, it's highly, highly unlikely there's not life forms on other planets out there. And I think that like the Earth is very young comparatively.
Yeah.
And if you know how America is quite a new country compared to the rest of the world, and the rest of the world kind of looks at it like, oh, you're young, That's how I think aliens look at us. Yeah. I think we're in our teen years compared to the aliens.
I saw a great video that made me feel so insignificant a couple of weeks ago, where it was basically saying that our galaxy, so this is not just our solar system, but our galaxy is like a grain of sand on a beach. And that's how many other galaxies there are out there, which then is trillions and trillions of planets and solar systems. And it makes you then sort of think, I've got a bit of a pain in my foot. Does that really matter? It doesn't really matter, because just how insignificant I am in everything, it just kind of puts it all in perspective. But would we like to see aliens? Would you like to have that sort of Hollywood moment where an alien planet or an alien ship comes down? I don't know whether I would like that. I don't know. I think it would be very threatening.
One Independence Day type scenario.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not going to come here and be friends, are they? They're going to come here and they're going to kick our ass.
Yeah, try and use our resources and
exactly.
stuff,
Yeah. Well, they've got some stuff here that we could use.
Yeah.
They've got this thing called Wi-Fi. Let's try and harness that.
Let's try and.
And they don't need. Yeah, and also like these Scientology people, they're cool. We like them. They know about us already, so they can be in our gang. They can come and stay with us.
Yeah, and we got to find that.
We'll learn from them.
Find that
their
Pavo,
leader, Tom Cruise.
He loves anal probes. We've got loads of them. We'll be knocking on his door, and Giles as well. He can't wait.
They love a bit of probing.
He can't wait. He'll take it. Do you know what I've heard though, which is weird? I've heard that there's a conspiracy within this conspiracy.
Okay.
That whenever there's any sightings of UFOs, like in clusters, they tend to be in clusters. Like lots of people will phone up and say, I've seen a UFO. It will always be around the same time and place that they're testing nuclear weapons. This is what I've heard anyway. And there's a theory that the aliens are they've been keeping an eye on us for a very long time to make sure that we don't blow up the fucking solar system, fuck everything up for everyone. And so whenever we mess around with all these weapons, they're like keeping tabs. Now I don't know, that's what I've just heard, but it does make sense.
So do you think that if somebody let off a nuclear weapon, then they would come and try and pull the plug on us? Is that what you mean? Or they would stop it before it got to that point?
I don't know. They
didn't do much with Hiroshima, did they? I mean, where were they then?
That's true.
Yeah.
That wasn't in Oppenheimer. I don't remember that bit.
The
aliens come up.
Yeah. That would have been a plot twist. Cillian Murphy's just like, oh my God.
No, Cillian Murphy was the alien. Didn't you get that?
Okay. Right,
I thought they made it pretty clear in the plot. That's why he was so emotionless and barely spoke.
That's true.
I've not seen it yet, and you've spoiled
English
it
language
for me now. You've
sorry.
Spoilers. I mean, I didn't realise that he was a lizard person as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say though, out of all of these conspiracies, the only one that I probably do believe in is aliens.
Okay. Yeah,
and Atlantis. You've been banging on about that for years.
Yeah, I mean, I find that fun to believe in, but like in a serious way, I believe in aliens.
In aliens. Okay, that's fair enough. Go on then, Giles, number 3.
Okay. The US government manipulates the weather so they can make money on a certain type of bread.
Jeez.
Never heard of this one.
Right, so yes, Project Columbus, which was back in the 1950s. It's when it started.
Could you spell that for me, please?
So Cumulus, or Cumulus.
Okay.
So it's about cloud seeding experiments. So apparently the cloud seeding helps precipitation. Well, I can't say it. Precipitation. And it manipulates the weather to increase the levels of precipitation so that certain seeds grow better and quicker, and then they can profit off the seeds that they use to make this nice bread. I don't know what the bread is, but
Wow.
Wow.
it's quite niche.
It's very niche, I would say.
Bread, though?
Hmm?
Would you say bread is worth all of that work just for bread? That they
Well,
sell
I guess
for, like,
they
next to
maybe they
nothing?
look, that's just one aspect of it, I reckon. Like if they're manipulating the weather for different purposes, I'm sure, but this is just one aspect of it. That was the comedic aspect of it that I picked out, but I'm sure there's other things they're doing that are more serious with regards to manipulating the weather.
So could that be linked to chemtrails then?
I guess so, yeah. I think it's in a similar ballpark.
Right.
Interesting.
I mean, I've never heard the bread bit before. So they're
I
basically
have the idea that
they're basically controlling.
I went
the
on a
weather.
bit of. To be fair, I went into a bit of a Reddit, which is not the best place
That's
to
not
be
good.
ever.
No.
A Reddit kind of wormhole about this, the bread aspect of this thing. So I just thought it was quite an unusual one to choose. I thought it was quite amusing, but also so far fetched,
Yeah.
ridiculous.
But I did that. I went into a bit of a Reddit wormhole looking for conspiracy theories, but I just discovered a bunch of things that people were just making up, I think, hoping they would turn into conspiracy theories. Like one of them was the Great Fire of London was started by a rat spontaneously combusting.
Right. That would have
Wow.
been a good none of us would have chosen that one.
No.
Yeah.
How
and
would
then
they have proof for that?
Well, exactly. And then someone added to that, I've heard that it was started by a rat that spontaneously combusted on purpose.
How would they know?
I don't know.
So I thought this
Oh
one
my
was I
God.
thought this one was very far-fetched and stupid, and so then I started to I like googled it, and then project Cumulus came up, and it's actually on Wikipedia and stuff about this cloud
my God.
seeding experiment. So it's actually a real thing, that thing. So and then I thought, oh, okay, so it's a legit conspiracy theory. I'm not saying it's obviously a legit thing, but it's the actual conspiracy theory is legit. It's not.
Well, that's a new one. I've never heard that one before.
There you go.
I just need to find out what kind of bread it is.
Well, I assume it's some sort of
Warburton's, is
seedy
it?
bread. It's not. It's some sort of seedy bread, I should imagine. Some sort
Seedy bread.
of some
Seedy bread.
seedy wheat bread. Some wheaty.
Wheaty seedy bread.
Yeah. Some whole grain.
Okay. Sourdough, that kind of stuff.
Well, I think sourdough. No, I think sourdough is much more ethical
Okay.
than this stuff.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Sophie, your number 3, please.
Okay, my number 3 is, again, we touched on this a little bit, but it is just the reptilian elite. And specifically, I like that the royal family are supposedly reptiles.
You like that, do you?
Yeah, I kind of like the weirdness of it. I mean, yeah, apparently lots of people, obviously, we've, Barack Obama and people like that, but it's just the idea that it's these sort of aliens wearing like human costumes.
Yeah, like
and
V.
kind of
Like V, exactly.
V.
Yeah.
kind of going around pretending to be human and ruling the world, basically.
Do you remember that
it's
show,
just-
Soph? You're probably a bit young. The show V?
No,
It's
hold
like
on,
a
let me Google
sci-fi.
it.
It's like a sci-fi show. Was it 80s? I suppose it was 80s.
It was whatever year it was that the
I remember it being creepy.
Olympics wasn't being shown on ITV, I think, and so they had V on instead.
Yeah.
It's that woman.
It was quite creepy, and they were this alien race that had come to Earth to, I guess, to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they
And they
remade
were
it. Didn't they
lizards.
remake it a few years ago?
Yeah.
So at the start of the 2000s, but yeah, they would eat mice and their face used to get ripped off, and it'd be an alien, and Freddy Krueger was in it, and
yeah, it was creepy.
yeah, it was creepy.
Yeah.
But it was very 80s. The original one was very 80s.
Anyway, that's what made me think. That's what when I think of this idea of like these lizard people that live among us, I think of V.
Really. And also they say that Prince Charles is a vampire as well.
A vampire.
Yeah. Well, apparently in some
And a lizard.
and a lizard, but he is related to Vlad the Impaler. Apparently.
What's wow?
Yeah, that's why they think he's a vampire.
Because they're German, the Windsors, right? They're the German ancestry.
I think so. So maybe it is going back to the Transylvanian.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Oh, so he's a... Oh, God, poor guy. He's
a
so many things.
He's a reptilian vampire.
It must be hard to keep up with all that.
Oh, it's crazy.
Lizarding and vampiring and being king.
Yeah, I mean,
and climate change. He's quite hot on that as well.
Yeah.
If it was me, I think, and I found out people thought that about me, I would be tempted to like mess with people, like have a little bit of fake blood. Be like, oh, excuse me,
sorry. Oh,
oops.
Oh, let me just knight you.
Or, I suppose he's got more important things to do.
But when he's knighting someone, what is the thing that stops him from slicing the person's neck and just drinking their blood?
Imagine if that just suddenly happened one time, you know, like, I don't know, Ant and Dec were getting an OBE or something.
All of a sudden.
What planet is this on?
But this is that thing, like, all of a sudden it's actually true. What would you do? You know, there's a news flash.
It would make you question everything.
Yeah, Prince Charles is alien lizard.
McPartland has been beheaded by King Charles, and he is now drinking his blood. And then there's this shaky cam footage of Dec going, "I don't believe it, man."
Or Dec's just spearing him with a stake.
Oh God!
Oh my Lord! There goes the knighthood, Charles. There goes the knighthood.
I never was in line for one. I don't know.
Oh dear. Well, there's time. Okay, number 3. I'm going for Nessie. I'm going for the Loch Ness monster.
Oh, okay. Again, grainy pictures, man. Like,
I've been to Loch Ness, and there's nothing to stop. You can't stop but keep looking at the water, thinking, "I'm going to see something. I'm going to see something." And they've got 2.
Behind you was the Bigfoot, like going, I'm here. No, out of the way, mate.
It's a decoy. It's a decoy.
Exactly. But there are 2 museums there, and I went to both. And I came out of the second museum and went, "What a lot of shit this is. This is one of the luckiest little towns that has made millions out of this for a log that's been floating on the water. This is like, there is nothing in this, and you can't tell me with the technology of today they wouldn't be able to find something."
Well, I mean, they did used to be like weird. I mean, I truly believe that there are some weird marine creatures out there, right? Like that we haven't discovered yet. And there used to be, you know, like the megalodon and stuff like that. I wonder if at some point during history something. I mean, is there? I don't know. Is there any access? Does the loch have any access to the sea? Could something have come in and then gone out again?
Yeah, I think it does.
So it could have been something, some weird creature, and then it's gone, you know, and then hundreds of years later we're still like, it's the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, they've dredged that bastard a few times, I think.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah. It could have just been a whale or something, right? Accidentally like come into the water.
I'm surprised no one's actually kind of constructed something that they've just put in the water, like to.
I'm sure that's what some of those photos are. I'm sure that's what it is.
Like I'd be on that. Like, you know, tourism's going down, lads. We need to, like, you know, the Loch Ness monster museum's going out of business. We need to quickly, like, we need to get something together. Like, let's make something.
I don't know, but I think the name now just means that they will always get tourists. And I don't begrudge them. I really don't begrudge them. But when I came out of there, I was so disappointed because I've always been fascinated with the grainy pictures of a flipper or of some kind of head or something. But then when you come out of it and you think that's all they've got.
Yeah.
You still bought a pencil and a rubber though, didn't
you?
I
absolutely did. I bought a sticker for my car and everything. You know, I bought a little model Nessie, and I got a cuddly one as well. But you know, I totally drank the Kool-Aid on the whole experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little bollocks. It really is.
Yeah, I used to watch a TV show when I was a kid called Family Nest.
Oh, the Family Nest.
The Family Nest. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it was like a family of Loch Ness monsters, I guess. It was quite, you know, and then they played the bagpipes. It was very
right. And there was even a Hollywood movie called Loch Ness, I think, with Ted Danson from Cheers was in it, and it was all set there, and it was. Yeah.
Was he trying to find the creature?
He was. He was supposed
I don't
to
remember that movie.
Can you not remember it? Yeah, I'm sure it was called Loch Ness, and it was Ted
Sounds
Danson.
low budget to me.
I think. Well, I mean, it was a British film, but obviously had a
Yeah,
big
low
star.
budget.
He was in his Cheers heyday at that point. Well,
Oh, okay.
three Men and a Baby heyday
Oh wow, yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, he
kind
was
of thing. So
he was a star puller then.
He was a star puller. Yeah. I'm gonna have to look and see who that was. Okay, so we need your number 2 then, please, Giles.
The moon landing.
That's my number 2.
Yeah,
Oh.
the moon landing. Yeah. As we said earlier in our little quiz, sort of 10-11% of Americans still believe that it was faked. And I think it's getting a bit of a renaissance, that's conspiracy. Again, podcasts are a great kind of, especially big ones hosted by certain people who allow these things to be talked about. It's kind of promoting that kind of idea again of it being faked, and it was just all shot in some studio in Nevada. But yeah, so yeah, it's one that I don't think will ever go away.
No, it's the fact they think that Kubrick directed it.
Yeah,
and then put loads of hints in The Shining,
mate. If Kubrick
Amazing.
had directed it, they would have done like 60,000 takes.
Exactly, they'd still be filming it now.
They'd still be filming it now.
They would. Poor old Buzz Aldrin would be.
Yeah, right. Take
traumatized.
155.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way that Kubrick did it.
No,
Buzz Aldrin would be in therapy.
he would.
Yeah.
He would, bless him.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I mean,
Again,
go on, Sophie.
well, I was just going to say, it's funny because it's one of those things that, again, like if I found out tomorrow that was fake, I can't think of a single time in my life where I've thought about it, really, about the moon landings has played a part in my life.
Yeah.
It's just something I could not care less about.
You actually want to be here, Sophie?
What, on this planet? Not really.
No, in this podcast.
I
this
just
conversation.
don't really care.
I just don't give a shit about anything,
I
really.
don't give a shit.
Like, if I
It's
found out
just like-
tomorrow, I would just be like,
Am I bothered? I don't know. It's just kind of like, I know it's obviously like one giant step for mankind and all that, but like, has life really changed for us on Earth? Maybe. I don't know.
I suppose it goes back to the idea that people get so het up and like vehement about these kind of things that aren't actually, does it really matter? Like at the end of the day, I mean, I believe that we did land on the moon and it wasn't faked, but like you say, if it found out suddenly it wasn't true, I wouldn't be like, oh, I told you so.
Yeah.
Which is which a lot of conspiracy theorists are so kind of staunchly like strongly felt feelings about things.
Doesn't it boil down to in the end that if you found out that that was the case, it's the government lying to you again? And that's what it is, isn't it? It's the fact that if the government's going to lie to you about that, what are they lying to you about everything else? And the did we land on the moon is just the fancy little details that the little glittery prize, but the main thing is, well, the government have lied about this. They can lie to us about fucking anything, and we can't really believe anything they said.
And I'm sure they do lie about stuff. And I think stuff
of course.
like MK Ultra and stuff is kind of like used as fuel to that as well. It's like, oh look, they did that,
Well, and I think like the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing kind of brought about like the people saying about QAnon. There've been this elite group of like, pedophiles and stuff. Yeah. It kind of lent itself to being being true, although obviously it's not, like QAnon's very more extreme, but it kind of gives credence to some of the sort of ideas, isn't it?
And then when Epstein dies, all of that
and there's another
becomes,
one.
It adds another layer to it, and you think, well, it's got to be something in it because all these people are getting silenced. Yeah. 1996, Loch Ness starred Ted Danson, Jolie Richardson, and Ian Holm.
Oh,
so there you go.
Holm as well.
Ian Holm,
good cast.
Very good cast. There you go. Nick Brimble as well. Okay, Sophie, your number 2 then, please.
Okay, so my number 2 is Satanic Panic, Through the Ages. So obviously
Through the Ages.
Because it's like a tale as old as time. But I think when we hear Satanic Panic, we think of like the 80s and 90s Satanic Panic. The like
classic years, the good years.
The good, the golden oldies.
The golden oldies.
Martin preschool trials and like obviously I love it. so many lives have been wrecked because of it, but I love it as a thing because it shows us so much about human psychology. You know, like we have it with the witch trial, you know, the Salem witch trials and stuff like that. It was exactly the same, just like it's hysteria that spreads through a population or a town or a city or a country. And again, it's like this needing this meaning of like, it must be the devil, it must be satanic worship, it must be witches. It's like we can't just accept the boring truth of life, you know. So that's my number 2.
So what is it exactly? Explain it a bit.
So I mean, the clue's in the title, really. It's
It's
just,
basically like you say, the witch trials and everything is when.
Yeah. So
it's
it's so it's essentially like a mass hysteria where they think that something nefarious is all because of satanic worship,
right. Okay.
or Satan. And the McMartin preschool trials were a huge one. Again, I forget the specifics, but essentially a few children came out with some like sort of, and again, I'm not saying you shouldn't believe children if they come out with something like that, but a couple of kids said something like some kind of fantastical thing, like, oh, and then they did this, and then the teachers were doing this and doing a ritual on us and blah blah blah, and then it ended up becoming this huge thing, and the police were essentially like interrogating these super young children and putting ideas in their head, and like, oh, the teacher did this and then they did this, didn't it? And it became like a whole town, and like it was just awful because all these people got arrested and they were in prison for like 8 years or something.
There was a podcast to this, right? Was there a podcast we listened to?
You might be thinking of the Hampstead hoax, which is a similar thing.
Yeah, that's it. The Hampstead hoax. Again,
it happens this is why I say over the through the ages, because it happens regularly in human history, like that we attach some kind of like satanic meaning to something, and yeah, it just blows up like wildfire.
Is that like playing songs and having that I love the devil in where you're playing backwards and things like that?
Yes, exactly. It's and Marilyn Manson, and back in the 80s when teenage boys were listening to Marilyn Manson, it's like, oh, they're worshipping the devil and all of this nonsense. And then there was that murder case. I've forgotten what it's called now. It's like what was it? I can't remember, but a few young boys got murdered, unfortunately, and they ended up arresting these teenage boys, wrongly accusing them just because they were like listening to Marilyn Manson and stuff. And they were in prison for years, and their lives were completely wrecked. And it turned out, obviously, it wasn't them at all. And absolutely tragic. But
okay,
sorry about that.
Thanks for cheering us up.
We're starting to get into the meat of it all now, aren't we? Okay, my number 2 was Did We Land on the Moon? So although Sophie has given us her number 1, but we will go through those in a second. Giles, give us your rundown from 10 to 2. 10 to Sophie, 2, if you can do the same, I'll do the same, and then we'll reveal our number 1s.
I'll just close.
Have you closed it all down? Do you want me to do
yours? No. So number 10, Avril Lavigne has died and is being impersonated. Number 9, Princess Diana It wasn't an accident. Her death wasn't an accident. Number 8, aliens built the pyramids. Number 7, the lost city of Atlantis. Number 6, the Titanic didn't crash and sink. Number 5, flat earthers. Number 4, the Illuminati. Number 3, the US government manipulates the weather to make bread. Number 2, the moon landings are faked.
Lovely. Sophie.
Okay, mine was number 10, birds aren't real. Number 9, we live in a simulation. Number 8, Denver International Airport. Number 7, Finland doesn't exist. Number 6, the earth is flat. Number 5, the Men in Black. Number 4, celebs that are celeb fake stories. Number 3, the reptilian elite. Number 2, satanic panic.
Lovely. And mine is number 10, Bigfoot, 9, Illuminati, 8, Living in the Matrix, 7, Flat Earth, 6, The Death of Princess Diana, 5, 9/11, 4, Aliens, 3, The Loch Ness Monster, and 2, Did We Land on the Moon? So, Giles, what's your number one conspiracy theory?
Probably the one that I've focused most on. I'm not a conspiracy theorist as such, but this one has always captured my attention, and it's mainly due to Oliver Stone. It's JFK.
That's my number one as well. That's my number one. Yeah.
I think again, mainly due to that movie, which is a fantastic film.
Yeah.
If you haven't, if anyone who hasn't seen it, do go and watch it. And it really opened up a lot of discussions around what really happened with the assassination of John F. Kennedy in Dallas. In
1960 November the 22nd, 1963.
Yeah. Whether that A, Lee Harvey Oswald was the culprit, but B, did he act alone? Was it a coup d'etat and it was a government conspiracy because of the conflict that was sort of brewing in Cuba and generals? And so lots of different, and the movie's very complex. There's lots of different kind of variations and lines of thought around what the conspiracy is. It was a multi-layered kind of conspiracy with regards to the movie. But having said that, I have read more about it before. I've listened to lots of podcasts on it. The Rest is History have done a fantastic 6 parts on it, and the evidence well stacked in that Lee Harvey Oswald did act alone.
That's interesting. That's interesting because I listened to it's called "Who Killed JFK." That was a Rob Reiner documentary.
Yeah.
That very much had the facts that it was the government, that the CIA and the FBI and that were behind it.
Interesting. Okay, I need to listen to that, and then maybe you listen to The Rest is History. And
I will do.
Compare notes.
I will do. I've been fascinated since. Well, probably before, because it was the first I can remember being young and watching the Zapruder footage.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Zapruder footage was so ahead of its time.
But it was so visceral. It's the first time I'd ever seen anybody die for real.
Yeah.
And the fact that his head explodes, it was like, oh my God, what is this? Because it was it was a murder in such a public place that the fact that they couldn't find out who did it at that point always fascinated me, with the fact that there were so many people there. And then when I started getting older, and then I'm a massive Kevin Costner fan, so I watched JFK. That to me then was the Bible. That is exactly what happened. But then when I started reading books about it, and you found out that the person that Kevin Costner played was a very flawed character.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that he brought up didn't make any sense. And
he appears in the movie as well. Do you know
he does?
He's the judge, isn't he?
He is the judge, absolutely, yeah. Garrison, isn't it? Jim Garrison.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to the actual the physicality of the assassination, loads of it doesn't make sense. The fact that I'm going to get deep in the weeds a little bit here, so apologies.
Go
If Lee Harvey Oswald is in the sixth floor of the Texas School Book Depository, why is he not shooting at JFK as he's coming towards him? On Elm Street, I think it was.
They bring that up in the movie, don't they? Like,
why wait until he turns the corner? So if he misses, they're just going to go fat. You've got a better shot. And then if you miss, they've still got to go around that way and then shoot again and shoot again. The only way is that coup d'etat. You've got 3 people. Triangulation of crossfire is what they call it in the movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
There could be 2 or 3 shooters, and just the physics of the actual shooting, to me, seems that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't act alone. There's no way he could have acted alone. And then there's so many other little bits and pieces where other people got killed because they knew too much, and but it's fascinating.
I think that there was I think the movie kind of puts that he wasn't a good shot and stuff. I think that's been dismissed. I think he actually was a good shot. I think he had lots of military training and stuff. So I think that thing's been dismissed.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think there's again, if that they obviously they haven't released the files, have they?
They are supposed to be released a few, but they ended up not doing that, which was a bit of a.
I wouldn't be surprised if there were multiple the grassy knoll, like it feels like that would be, like you say, that would be the ideal optimum place for the show. There's the magic bullet theory as well, which is random, and
that was the one thing. If you look at the JFK movie, they've got the two people and they're doing like, I think in the courtroom they do like a mock up, but they're sat right behind each other. Well, they weren't they were sat at an angle. Yeah. So it is possible, but it's there's so many bits. I would love to know what the actual truth is of that. And I've always said, if anybody managed to do a time machine where you could go back in time, I would like to stand on that grassy knoll, knowing what I know now, and just look around and think, there's someone over there, there's someone up there. Not try and stop it. Obviously, I want it to carry on, but
But it's fascinating, and just the whole kind of concept that around having an open top car and all that kind of stuff is it's endlessly fascinating, that story. I think just the fact, like, I'm just started watching this thing called Manhunt on Apple, which is about Lincoln being assassinated.
Oh right, okay.
And it's just interesting that like Americans, there's been a few times where there's been about 4 presidents have been assassinated in the last like 200 years or something, which is quite a lot. And they've attempted to assassinate more. So it's quite an interesting kind of story in general, I think.
I'm gonna have to listen to that Rest is History then, just to
it's good. It's very good. Lots about Jack Ruby as well, who's very interesting as well. So it's
that's right,
very interesting podcast.
Yeah. Sophie, what do you think? Or
Sophie's gone to sleep.
I just don't really care. If I find out tomorrow,
if I found out JFK
5 people that killed, I wouldn't really. It wouldn't really I wouldn't really bother.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I wouldn't even like.
So I just forgot I was on a podcast. I felt like I was listening to a podcast then. I'm like,
oh great, that's good.
Yeah. Because to be honest, I'm not like a massive expert. I watched that film back when I studied film studies, and for some reason, I think my lecturer just was really into the conspiracy, to be honest with you, and was like, what do you guys think? But I like the idea of him being because he claimed that he was hypnotized, didn't he?
Well, he claimed he was a patsy. Is one thing he definitely claimed, that he was there. He wasn't supposed to be arrested. Oh, he knew that once he got arrested, there was something wrong with what was supposed to have happened. He was,
one thing that's very interesting about JFK in general, he had a lot of ill health, and he used to wear he had a very bad back and stuff, and he had to wear this corset. So some of the reason why he couldn't move when he was being shot, for example, was because he actually couldn't move. So I think some of the head wounds and stuff are applicable because of his ill health. Anyway, sorry, Sophie.
But and I don't know. I like that idea that he was kind of brainwashed by whoever, supposed the CIA or whoever has brainwashed him, and because they were talking about there's like the man with the umbrella or something.
That was
one of the theories.
It was, but that was apparently someone doing a making some statement about the British Prime Minister at the time or something.
Interesting.
Because he used to carry an umbrella.
Right. Did that guy come out then? And he was like, "Oh, actually, that was me."
Apparently so. Yeah, apparently so.
Oh,
but he was Lee Harvey Oswald was supposed to be a Russian operative. That's what he was.
Yeah.
But I think they were saying that he was a double agent or maybe even a triple agent. So the Russians thought he was working for them, and the Americans thought he was working for them, and.
Yeah,
they do talk a lot about his affiliation to the Communist Party and stuff on the podcast I listened to. So he definitely had like allegiances to the Russian government.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it's fascinating. Yeah. Absolutely fascinating.
I think with these sorts of things, because it really doesn't matter, you kind of got to go with what you want to be the truth, right? Like,
it doesn't matter to you, Sophie. I mean, it might matter to other people.
Just because you don't give a shit.
Do you know what I'm realizing? This is kind of my attitude. This is totally off topic, but when I was away, I lost my bag briefly, and my friends like, don't worry, we're going to try and find it. It literally had everything in it, like all my stuff, all my car, my passport, my friend's car keys, my friend's keys to their house. I just totally fucked up. I got my bag back, but then when we got the bag back, she was like, you didn't have any reaction or emotion to that. And I think in my head, once something bad happens, I'm like, oh, well, you can't change it. So
I mean, to be honest,
that's a good thing
that's a great attitude to have. And I think you'll live a long, healthy life if if
really
these
hope
things
so.
like conspiracies don't bother you, because if you're not stressed about them, that's fine. You can have them as something to talk about. But like there are people that do. Their veins bulge in their heads because of these.
Why it's so fascinating, and I see people. And this is why social media is so fascinating, because I see people like arguing about stuff online. I'm like, why do you care? You know, unless JFK was like your dad, then like, why do you care? But I think it's really fun to speculate and to like learn the history of it and stuff like that. But then at the end of it, choose your own conspiracy and just go with it.
Yeah, I think with the JFK thing, it's more because it's like historical, and it's like because it's a historical something. Such an impactful historical event.
It was a mystery.
It's a
mystery.
Yeah.
It's something that actually happened. We all know it happened, but we just don't know what happened. Really. It's weird.
Well, it's like a murder mystery, isn't it? It's that kind of
Whereas,
it is. Whereas like flat Earthers,
totally.
it's like that's just like that's not interesting.
Yeah. And the trouble with JFK is that every day that it goes on, you're getting further away from the truth because more people are dying, more secrets are getting lost.
Yeah, totally.
We got a few honourable mentions. So Stu Grant said, "Ooh, now you're about to get me started." He says the COVID vaccine was just a way to cull the world's population. Kubrick shot the moon landing and left hints to this in The Shining. 9/11 was an inside job justify a war in the Middle East. Prince Andrew is a paedophile. JFK was assassinated.
That's not a conspiracy theory.
That's not a conspiracy.
JFK was assassinated by the CIA or FBI. Courtney Love killed Kurt Cobain. Pizzagate. Michelle Obama is really a man. Flat Earth, the ice wall, and chemtrails. And he says, I believe in only one of these, but I won't say which. It'll make you sweat. I'll make you sweat on that. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, so that's all one person's.
That's all one person's.
okay.
I think that's his top 10 there.
Then it must be the Prince Andrew one then, because that's the only one that's true.
Yes, that's true.
I only believe in one of them.
Yeah.
And Prince Andrew is a great guy.
And I've always thought Courtney Love killed Kurt Cobain.
Yeah. At Joshy McSquashy says, not so much of a conspiracy, but I do love me some mad film fan theories. I'm thinking of the bigger Luke Star Wars theory, one for me. Now, I looked into that. Apparently, there's a theory that there are 2 Luke Skywalkers in the original Star Wars, and one is slightly taller than the other. Just Google it, because I'm not going to get into it now. But or that Sean Connery is James Bond in the movie The Rock, which I always thought was quite an interesting one. At Stevie V says his favourite conspiracy theory is that Giles is not actually the nicest person on Twitter, but being a Crystal Palace fan is actually miserable and bitter. Is that true?
Bit of football banter there.
Is that true, Giles? You're not miserable and bitter.
I'm a very philosophical football fan. I don't get bitter and sad about football.
No,
generally. I mean, obviously, you can't. If you support a team like Crystal Palace, you have to be philosophical and take it on the chin.
Of course,
you'd be depressed.
Absolutely. But
if anything, it makes you happier, I think.
Yeah.
It's like Undertakers, really happy guys, apparently.
Right.
I've met a few.
Yeah. He says
my brother was an Undertaker.
Oh, right.
Was he?
Yeah.
Was he really happy all the time?
He loved it. Everyone loves being
an
Undertaker,
loved it.
apparently.
He loved it. He had a great...
Yeah.
Have you had a good day, love?
Oh, Sophie. Yeah. Say your brother.
Sorry, my brother was.
He probably just didn't care. He probably like you. He probably don't. I don't care.
It runs in the family.
Yeah.
But we were having a conversation about this the other day at my tennis tournament. Like, apparently, Undertakers really easygoing, fun guys because they just see life in a different way. You just stop caring.
Well, I suppose they're surrounded by death, aren't they? It just can't get any worse than that.
Gotta have a sense of humour. Something switches in your brain.
I love the way you thought of that when you're thinking of Giles and Crystal Palace. You're thinking
death.
One step away from death. Giles's face.
It's like having a terminal illness, isn't it?
Oh dear! Oh bless him. No, Giles, come on, stay with us, man. Come on.
Oh God! Do a screenshot.
Yeah, Stevie V says at the end, no, seriously, it's got to be the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, and British Secret Service involvement. Phil James says that Avril Lavigne is dead. Janine Bender says Elvis is still alive. Kendra Gross Tapia says Stevie Wonder isn't blind. Dawn Sardella Air says Paul is dead, a classic. We even learnt it in school. And Karen Clark says Elvis did not die but went into hiding. He wanted to avoid the limelight.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, I've seen
covered
Bubba
a lot of
Hotep.
those.
He's
I've seen
definitely-
Bubba Hotep. I was just going to say the same thing. He's just in an old people's home with a black
Yeah.
JFK.
Yeah.
It's so good. Such a great movie.
Oh,
Love that
God.
film.
Oh, well, we done it. So, guys, what's been happening with the podcast? Let everybody know about it.
Go on,
Well,
Soph.
we've been podcasting. We've been interviewing some amazing people, some great guests.
Who have you
all
had
amazing, but-
lately?
Well, we had John Watson recently. He was great.
Oh,
I've been talking
nice.
about conspiracy theories. He's done a whole series himself on how culture wars get started. So that's really always fascinating to talk to John Watson. He was great, and we had some really
And
good
Dom
ones.
Jolly as well.
Dom
He was
Jolly.
talking about conspiracy
Oh no!
theories.
Well, this is very on topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, we've been really lucky. We've had some wonderful guests, and yeah, it's just a real treat every time we go in the studio and we get to sit down with these wonderful people and talk. And for me, it's just great being able to do a podcast with my best friend.
Oh,
me too.
But she don't care. She don't really.
I don't-
She don't
yeah.
really.
I don't care. I mean, if it ended tomorrow, it wouldn't bother me.
I mean, like, if it ends tomorrow, what can you do? It's just life, isn't it?
Yes.
You've
Yeah.
got to get on with these things.
Yeah.
I'll just carry on without you, John.
Yeah.
Except it wouldn't be with any guests. It would just be me talking.
Yeah.
My musings. No.
So do you want to tell everybody what it's called? And I'll put a link in the show notes, obviously.
Yeah, it's called Unquestionable. And we talk about the unquestionable truths and human nature, psychology, relationships. We talk about life and diet, just everything self-improvement. It's a little bit of something for everyone, I would say.
Yeah,
But
it's very
I
good.
honestly, I have learned so much doing it. Every time I have a conversation with someone, I think about something that's been said in one of our episodes, and I'm like, oh, that reminds me of something that nutritionist said, or like, oh, a financial advisor guy told me about it. So yeah, really
And
good,
also,
I think.
I don't know if it's like for you, Pav, sometimes when you're doing a podcast, like, and Sophie and I talk about this quite a lot, is that either when you're recording it or when you're editing it or re-listening to it in some way, there's something in there that you need to hear at that moment.
Yeah.
Like there's something, someone says something and you're like, oh God, I needed to hear that today.
Yeah.
And that happens so much. It's a weird serendipity or magic. I don't know what it is that happens.
Yeah,
and
every
it's
week.
so, that's one of the things I love most about it, is that you get back something that you needed.
I think it's also the
yeah.
beauty of it is there'll be things that you could spend 6 months trying to write something like that, whether it's profound, whether it's funny, that just becomes something that just comes just in a second, and it's those little moments of podcasting that I love,
Yeah.
So
totally,
what about the
totally.
art then, Sophie? How's that going? What have you got on at the moment?
Still doing the doodling. Still doing the
Still
doodling.
doing
Yeah.
the doodling.
Yeah, that sounds like something like a dad's friend would say. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you still at a wedding, you still
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
the doodling?
Yeah, keep up the doodling. Keep up the doodling.
Yeah,
they're far from doodles. I will say, without a shadow of a doubt.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm still doing that. I've just been away for a while. I was in Costa Rica volunteering with wildlife, and then I went to Hawaii for a month and was painting a piece for a charity auction. So I've just got back, and I'm now back working on my next collection, which is called Commodities, and hopefully that will be exhibited end of this year, maybe beginning of next year. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on, along with the pod and some other cool projects. So yeah.
Excellent.
It's going to be amazing, by the way. Like, I've seen some of the early pieces and they're phenomenal. So
Okay.
Thank you.
And then, Giles, do you want to
I hope
tell us
so.
about your production company or this whole thing that's going on?
yeah, well, I've been working on a bunch of film projects. I think last time I spoke to you, Pav, and I just thought, like, I'm doing a lot of these things, and I thought to take a bit more autonomy over them, and getting into the production side of stuff. I set up 8 Digits, which is a production company. I've got a whole bunch of projects on the go, like some feature films, an animation project. Sophie and I are working on a documentary, which is all top secret at the moment, but it's going to be really exciting. So yeah, there's all sorts of stuff, and it's all sort of under that banner of 8 Digits. So yeah, it's it's all very new and exciting and surreal and strange and wonderful.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's nice to know you're keeping yourselves busy.
Trying
just
to,
Giles,
yeah.
make sure you keep Sophie as busy as you can, because she just don't give a fuck. She just don't care.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Pav? In a few weeks when you're editing this episode, you'll hear me say that, and you'll be like, I needed to hear that.
Well, yeah.
So
you
you're
know
welcome.
what? I wish I had that. I wish I had that that kind of attitude where I can just let things flow over me, and just think I just don't give a fuck about that. I just don't give a shit. So
I wonder, maybe
I may
it's
take that as a
something like-
ringtone, just when you're saying
yeah.
that.
at some point something will snap. Like you'll go through one too many bad things, and you'll suddenly be like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that'll be it. I'll be changed forever. I'll be changed forever. Okay, if you want to get in touch with us, all of the information is in the show notes. Whether you want to get in touch with us, you want to come and be a Patreon subscriber, all of that kind of stuff, just look on the show notes. Sophie, Giles, thank you so much. That was the fastest 2 hours I think I've ever had podcasting. That was so much fun, and in a couple of weeks' time when this goes up online, we'll see whether we get cancelled or whether people just don't give a fuck. I think pretty much people, as long as they've got the same attitude as Sophie, we'll be all right. Thank God. Anyway, thank you very much, Giles.
Thank you, Pav. Lovely to see you, man.
And you. Thank you very much, Sophie.
Thanks, Pav.
Thank you very much, everybody else. And let's go start the countdown.